Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. You, I see. Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. We're gonna be stronger together. Come.
Hello and welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. My name is Douglas Harper. Glad to have you all on. Tonight we'll be having a special interview with Mr. Patterson. And of course, you know, we're always talking about the issues that we have in Jamaica as it relates to good governance and how the UIC will change that spectrum. VZI Truth says, good night, Uniters. Bruce Davis, good evening, Uniters. Sweet lady, good night. I see you, yippee. Good night, sweet lady. So yeah, tonight is going to be an interview night, a Q&A, question and answer night. Please, guys, remember that we on Monday will be having an event on Heroes Day, which is Monday. So we'll be going to Lloydersville and Bernard Lodge, as well as Heroes Circle, in celebration or in remembrance of our heroes. And also to remind us that, you know, what our heroes fought for, you know, blood, sweat, and tears for our freedom. And, you know, unfortunately, what we are experiencing right now in Jamaica is not what our forefathers and our great 5 heroes fought for. So we'll be having an event on Monday, Heroes Day, and we'll be going to Heroes Circle. I think we'll start in Portmore, so we're going to Bernard Lodge first, and then to Louisville, also in St. Catherine, and then going to Heroes Circle after that. So Mr. Patterson is here. We'd love to bring him on. If you have any questions, guys, please direct your questions to Mr. Patterson. You can also call in. So you can call in to the program at 876-293-0812. Right? So good night, Mr. Patterson. How are you doing?
Good night, Mr. Arpa. I'm doing quite fine. Happy to be here. Looking forward to the conversation. Yes. I've been following the news and seeing whole heap of chatting go on about land and property. And that's all I'm good for now. Whole heap of chatting. Just chat. And talk whole heap of big talk. But at the end of the day, the Jamaican people are still suffering. Some 500,000 living on the margins and being considered squatters. And of the remaining 80%, at least 90% of them are not living in the quality of housing that would be reasonable. Many have bought some little matches boxes and are paying with their dear lives for these little boxes, because we have a government that does not work for the people, but rather for the PSOJ oligarchy and their colonial masters.
Yes. I'm trying to find the video. I
saw CVM do an interview last night with was it last night or with did an interview with Damian Crawford for 20 minutes, full 20 minutes. Nice, calm, decent conversation for full 20 minutes. You know why? Because he's not challenging the status quo. Yes, he's saying words that sound like him kind of questioning things, but at the end of the day, he's keeping the status quo. They're used to that kind of politics where both sides just talk about the issue and talk around the issue, but the UIC goes right to the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter is their colonial master for 400 years thief our land and thief our labor, and these two parties for 78 years have done nothing to seriously correct that problem. They have not returned the land to the people, and they have not ensured that the poor and marginalized are properly assisted so that they can become full property owners, which is the most important and basic right that they have. The land belongs to the people, not to the government and not to the crown.
Yes, so true. That is it's an ideology that a lot of people just don't seem to. Well, we've never really been. We weren't taught that. We were taught that the government owns the land. And so this idea of the people owning the land is kind of foreign to us. We're like, what? Oh, how is it the people own the land? But really and truly, this is something, as you said, that has been passed down from slavery.
It's now over 500 years.
Yeah.
500 years of this. And we have these two parties playing games with the people. I see the Prime Minister now talking. Suddenly, he's awake. He now knows that Jamaica needs to be energy independent. Where learned that from? Where the Prime Minister learned that from? That Jamaica now needs to be. Where were they all this time?
It's all talk. As far as I'm concerned, that's all talk.
Of course,
I feel like it's just going to be like we're going to be able to sleep with our windows open and our doors open.
All they're trying to do, Mr. Harper, is to make sure that when the people finally hear the UIC, the people going to say, "Me hear that already."
That already. Yeah.
That is all. So that the people will continue to vote for the two of them and keep themselves. Because the people doing it now, the people in their ignorance, that they have kept them in because they are keeping the people in ignorance. So when the people hear the beautiful plans that the UIC have, me hear that already. When I hear the Prime Minister talk about energy independence already, when I hear them talk about food security already, when I hear them talk about water security, when I hear them talk about everybody must own property already, and all they're doing is talking because they'll never put policies and regulations and laws in place to ensure that they empower the Jamaican people. Them love poor people, and they're going to keep the majority of Jamaicans poor because they love them. They love the people to be poor, ignorant, and fearful, just like the slave masters did. The slave masters love to keep the Jamaican people ignorant, poor, and of course, not having the capacity to challenge them. Yeah, they love that.
Yeah. Lady Williams says, this Prime Minister is a little puppet. Yes, he is. He is a puppet.
Oh yeah.
Good night, Mr. Patterson.
All of them. I mean, even when you see some of them come on and they can talk nice. I watched fully the Damian Crawford interview with CVM, and it's a lovely interview. He's saying many nice sounding things. But why is he in the PNP? Why is he still a part of that which has held back our people? I can't understand it. They all come on, whether it's Damien or Lisa or anybody, they come on and they can talk so nice while they are a part of maintaining the colonial parties. They're giving credence to the colonial parties. They're a part of the policies and programs and approaches of these two parties, which are criminal in nature. And they continue to push these parties forward by giving them their support while coming in the public sphere and talking nice. The nice talk days are over. The nice talk now help the Jamaican people. The nice talk is resulting in their houses being bulldozed, in their children not being able to find jobs, in those who find jobs, the jobs are too low paying, in many Jamaicans not being able to afford adequate health care, adequate education, and spend a lifetime paying off a house that in most cases is not even finished, is incomplete. When you give somebody a little piece of box, there's hardly there's no bedroom enough for the family. You have one bedroom or so, a little box, hardly a kitchen, hardly a living room, hardly a dining room. It's just a little box, and they're selling them for these prices that are outside the wage capacity of most people. And 75% of contributors will never get a home. How can we call that progress? How can that be Jamaica in 2022 after 78 years of these two parties? Why is it Lee Kuan Yew took 25 years to build such a beautiful country, and they have had 78 years, and we're still having a primitive conversation, backward conversation, as if we're just coming out of slavery, like we just finished slavery and we just are starting out to find our way. We still are talk foolishness. And we have this prime minister who just comes on every day and announces new UIC ideas as if there is. And he knows that the general public not hearing us. The general public are not on YouTube listening to us. The general public is watching what comes out of the Gleaner, what comes out of the Observer, what comes on TVJ and CVM. That's where the general public is getting their general information, or maybe not watching anybody at all. They're busy watching some TikTok videos and having some laughter to cope with the stress and pressures they're under. Right. So they're not paying attention. They're turned off from all of that stuff. My God, man, it's so stressful to think about it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here, sir, and say, and ask, I mean, Damian Crawford, why can't he change it if he takes over the PNP? Why wouldn't he be able to change, the system? He has some really good ideas. Why wouldn't he be able to implement all these ideas that he's putting forward now?
Yes. Yeah, he has good sounding ideas. Some of them are actually disastrous if you were to try to implement them. It's like communism. Communism is a good idea. Here's what communism says. We will own everything in common and we'll all be taken care of. It's a very good idea. But it's disastrous because we cannot own all things in common. Because you ever try run a club yet? Or, no, not a club. Let's say you have a community center. You see them all over Jamaica. They build these community centers and then they give it to the community and say, it is owned by everybody. You ever see what happened to that community center quickly? When it's owned by everybody, it quickly descends into a shell of a dirty, dingy, horrible thing. Now, that's what communism would lead to, because you cannot have everything owned in common. What you can have is a public property that is well managed by the government. Yeah, a public property. Now, Damian Crawford has many good sounding ideas. For example, he talks about rent to own. Rent to own is just as destructive as the current system now. If you were to actually put it into practice, what you need is to first of all acknowledge that the land belongs to the people. So it's not theirs to buy. It's their inheritance to be given back to them. That's number one. Then number two, now, you need to have housing provided, quality housing, that are built the way the UIC says, as communities, not as some little boxes drop here and there, but as communities with the infrastructure and pieces necessary. They must be fit for consumption, fit for use. And then they must be at prices and structures that the people can afford to pay for over time. They have borrowed our phrase about intergenerational mortgages. They co-opted that one too, but we still hold on to that. And ensure that now they can pay for this over time, but make sure they get it up front so they can actually benefit from having decent housing immediately. And you have to couple that with a nutrition program to make sure that the children are adequately nourished, an education program that truly educates us to be truly competent, and of course, an economic model that allows the grassroots to fully participate. If you do hodgepodge and pieces here and there, and you don't change the whole complete package that's going to support that system, you end up with Tivoli. Yeah. So you can't just have one thing here, one thing here. It has to be all linked together. And that's why the UIC, when we talk about crime fighting, we don't talk about doing all these gobble stuff that they talk about just so. We have a complete package. Crime fighting includes education. Crime fighting includes an apprenticeship program for young people to leave school and not be a part of the gang. Crime fighting includes a full border control facility. Crime fighting includes a workfare program to get those who have been left out in adulthood of the market, to bring them back in and help them to adjust and get back into the working space. Crime fighting means a top-down procedure that you cut off the head of those who are facilitating and supporting and covering for criminals and even financing them. Cut it off at the top. It's not these little, states of emergencies where you just call a day and you send people in and you do all these massive aggressive stuff that doesn't address the real problem. That's why the UIC has a comprehensive program, and our program will ensure that Jamaica is a Singapore in no time and better.
So, Mr. Patterson, the UIC talks about everyone becoming a property owner. There was this question that was asked on, I think it was Facebook. How can everyone in Jamaica do we have that kind of land? Do we have enough land space to hold the 3 million people, everyone having a property? How is that feasible? How possible?
Yeah, and that's because when people talk like that, I understand where they're coming from, right? They're not fully aware. So I normally like to simplify things for people. So here's a simple piece of knowledge. Singapore is 1/15 the size of Jamaica. Let's do the math. Singapore is 1/15 the size of Jamaica, which means there are at least 15 Singapores can fit in Jamaica. Now, Jamaica has 2.9 million people. Call it 3 million. Singapore has nearly 6 million people. Let's call it 5,500,000, right? So roughly 6 million. So if you take 6 million people and you multiply that by 15, Jamaica is able to hold 90,000 persons. Sorry, 90 million. 90 million. You see that? Remember, we are 15 times the size of Singapore. That means if we were to replicate Singapore in its entirety, which we won't do that. But if we were to replicate Singapore in its entirety, we could hold 90 million people in this small country that we call Jamaica. Okay? We're little, but we're Talawa. This is a very big country relative to Singapore. On top of the fact that we're a bigger country than Singapore, we have far more natural resources than Singapore. Our land is more fertile. We have more land. We have water. Singapore imports water. We naturally have water in abundance in this country. Poorly harvested, of course, poorly managed, of course, poorly distributed, of course, but we have it nonetheless. And we have beautiful lands. Some people say Singapore is flat. That doesn't matter. And it's not true, by the way. They do have hills in some areas. But the bottom line is, it's still land. The UIC is going to make every Jamaican a property owner through a family structure. So through the family. Every family is entitled to land in Jamaica. We have 2 parts to our program. Now, teeth all of this, Andrew, but I'm going to say 2 parts to our program. One part is recognizing your land ownership by making every Jamaican a shareholder in the land. Every Jamaican. Just like how in a country that produces oil, their citizens are shareholders in the oil assets that they have. So when the asset produces value, the society, the citizens get a share of that profit coming to them. So we're going to make sure all Jamaicans are shareholders in the land. So no matter, once you're born here or you're born to Jamaican parents and you're registered properly, you are a titled shareholder in the land. Whatever wealth that land produces now becomes yours by right, a portion of it, even if you don't own that piece of plot of land. Then now we're going to give you a path, a simple path, an effective path, a comprehensive path to owning a home in this new Jamaica. We have decided to use a high-rise model, and the reason we're going to do that is because we're trying to be as smart as the Singaporeans. They were smart by necessity. Most of them have a little bit of land, so they build in a way that conserve as much of their land as they possibly can. We have been practicing urban sprawl. We have just been allowing to build all over the place, and we're spreading out and destroying our agricultural lands and putting these little box houses on them. And no, the UIC is going to make sure that we have well-developed condominiums, beautiful condominiums, well fitted with daycare center, community center, police station, support services, all the things you need, play areas for the kids, beautiful parks, all the things that will make for a very healthy living, but we're building up. We're building up. And that's how we're going to make sure every family has a decent home. Beautiful home, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, proper sizes, kitchen, living, dining. For many, now there are some Jamaicans who will still want to buy their regular houses. That is quite fine. That's your choice, and it will be available for you to do that. But for the mass of people who will never be able to own a home under the current system, we're going to give them something they would never be able to own under the current system, a complete home that they can turn their key in and go in, and it's pretty, and it's clean, and it's well maintained and well managed. And if you think I'm talking pie in the sky, Singapore already did it.
Exactly.
So we're not talking about something that's not done. It's already done, fully done. So all we're going to do is borrow from them and improve on it. Something that any government could have done over the last 78 years and did not do. Them never do it. So we are going to do it. We are going to do what these two parties have had 78 years to do and didn't do. We're going to do it. So we're going to give every Jamaican an opportunity to own a decent home in one of these beautiful condos, plus some other structures as well. You're based on existing communities. For example, what would we have done in Clifton? We would have gone in, see what's there, meet with the people, tell them it's not good the way it's set up, it's improper and it's not orderly and whatever. We're going to now work with you, bring in an architect, bring in civil engineers, and we're going to make some adjustments as best as we can around what you already have. Put in roads, put in sewage system, put in water, put in electricity property, and build that out as a good, solid community. Those who have unfinished, half-finished things, we will help to finish that and give you a proper low-interest loan to pay off and get everything done. So your family will be okay. We're not going to disturb your family and disrupt your plans. We're going to work with you to build it out. We're going to put a stop to any such more informal settlements, because now you're going to have a clear path, a clean program, an orderly program to get from where you are being zero to now having a fully completed home that's designed well. I don't want this in the unfinished homes sitting there for years and years and years. No more zinc fences, no more dirty community, no more sewage in the street. The UIC is going to get rid of all of that, because that's the purpose of government. That's why you must have a government that has good leadership, a government that has vision, a government that has the competencies to get these things done. And so that's what we're going to do, Mr. Harper.
Yeah. So switching the topic a little to transportation. Recently, I saw a report where our the public transportation is very it's a joke, to be honest with you. People are waiting hours and hours and hours to get any form of public transportation. How will the UIC change this?
Can I tell you something? This is so ridiculous. We should be ashamed of ourselves. When the colonial masters were leaving Jamaica, no longer being the upfront managers of Jamaica. So now they have, for some time now, they would have in 1944 started what they call self-governance. So we had some elected Jamaicans and still the governor of England, a governor that's appointed by England to keep them under their control. And that's went on for 18 years. When we got independence in 1962 and all the way into the early 70s, Jamaica had a much better public transportation system. Now, for the life of me, how is it? How can you inherit a public transportation system from those evil colonial masters and make it worse than what they left? How can you make it worse than what they left? When I was a boy, paying 5 cents on the bus, yeah, 5 cents. Can you imagine 5 cents from a bus fare? You had what was called the Jamaica Omnibus Service. The young people them now wouldn't know nothing about that. JOS. You see a big green bus, like the yellow ones you have now. It wasn't as big as the yellow one, but big nonetheless, especially for us back then. We had less people and so on, but big buses. Green color, it was green, and it had the big JOS written on the side. All those buses had specific numbers, and there was a schedule about when the bus is coming. It was by modern standard, advanced compared to where Jamaica is today. So we have gone from a more advanced bus system in the 1960s, 70s to a chaotic system that doesn't work today. So our leaders have taken all of that time to destroy even what was relatively good that they got from the colonial masters. Just think that carefully. The same thing was done with Air Jamaica. When the colonial masters were here, having some degree of control over the design and running of Air Jamaica, it was
No, Mr. Patterson, you're breaking up. Yeah. The signal is low, so I'm going to wait until it comes up a little. It's gone down to 1 bar now.
Let me know when I'm back with you.
All right, well, I'm hearing you now, but the video is kind of blurry.
Okay. All right.
Okay, go ahead now.
All right. So I was saying that Air Jamaica was the same thing.
Right. Oh dear. All right, so we'll wait for him to come back. Abinad Adams says, I remember the JOS as a child. Mr. P, in 1971, it was one cent on what is the JOS. Wow, 1 cent. Wow, that's crazy. 1 cent. Wow. And as Mr. Patterson says, it was a more organized system than we have now. It still was kind of primitive, but it was definitely better than what we have now. And it's a shame that everything that the government touches, it just runs to the ground. Mr. Patterson was going to talk about Air Jamaica and how the government just ran Air Jamaica to the ground. And it's just sad that we have leaders that really don't care. I mean, if you just look on the history, we have leaders that really do not care, really don't care about providing any kind of proper service to the people of Jamaica. Yes, Mr. Patterson, you're back.
Yeah, man. I always have these interruptions, but I think you get the point. So I spoke about JOS. So we've actually gone backwards. We've gone backwards in our public transportation. We have not built on even what the evil, wicked colonial masters had. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something. Apart from the racism and classism of the colonial masters during the time when they operated Jamaica, and where they really were running, they were running a slave economy, but calling it a free economy back then. Mm-hmm. But they put in place structures and institutions to make Jamaica pleasant for themselves. And while they made it pleasant for themselves, some of that pleasantry would fall down to the rest of us.
Right.
Now, I would think that when our leaders took over, the least they would do is to keep what is good and keep building on it and improving. But what I've seen them done is to destroy many good things. Now, to be fair to them, they've also brought in other things. For example, they brought in better attempts at getting more of our children to attend school. They brought in adult literacy program to help many adults who couldn't read to learn to read, the Jamal program and so on. So there are some good things done. But in totality, I'm talking now, in totality, they have gone down rather than up. And they have failed. So we lost Air Jamaica because they couldn't manage it. We lost our public transit system because they couldn't manage it. We built an education system that, though it is free and accessible, it is generally poor in quality and has consistently been failing more and more Jamaicans over the years. As a matter of fact, they have consistently failed 70% of our student population every single year. 70%. You cannot build a great country if you're failing 70% of your students every year. And those who they're passing, for the most part, and I hate to say this because some people may take, offense. For the most part, those who they're passing are artificial passes. They're not, for the most part, true passes, because what you have done, they have watered down the requirements. So, for example, back in the day, when a student passed 7 subjects, you really passed 7 subjects because you had to, all of your passing was done in the examination room.
Right.
So when you walk in there and you did a physics exam, like I had to do back in the day, your entire grade is based on your ability to perform in that physics exam. So when you get, I did GCE for that. When you get a B or a C or an A, it is really a B, a C, or an A. Today, a student goes to do their physics exam. They had done previously what they call an SBA. God knows how they get the grade for the SBA. God knows how many acts of plagiarism that took place, whether or not they paid the teacher to give them a higher grade. We have no idea. But for whatever reason, they go into that final exam with an SBA result of 98%. And then when they do the actual exam now, they need very little in order to get a passing mark as the final. So you might have a student who really did not do the SBA properly or very well, haven't really learned anything or mastered anything, but they get more than half of their final grade already procured through that fake or fraudulent process. I'm only saying this because I'm pointing out that you may now have many persons who think that they're educated, running around, saying they're educated. I have 13 subjects, I have 12 subjects, I have 11 subjects, but then they cannot do well in university or college. And we have seen that. The university and colleges have watered down their program. It has shifted from competency and outcomes to money. If you have money, if you can borrow enough money to get in, then you'll get in. And you'll run through a mill and you'll come out and you'll say, I have a degree in engineering, I have a degree in economics, I have a degree in accounting. But when you're put to the test, you can't actually perform. And that is something I have seen and witnessed here since I've returned to Jamaica. Yeah. Many persons walking around with degrees and are as incompetent as ever. How did they make it through high school and have 13 subjects and then make it through university and get degree and still are so incompetent? And it's them, the people that we have in our government today, some of them. You understand?
Yeah.
So when do we go live?
Asking, where is Abs? We're about to go live with Abs. Devereaux, know yourself.
Where is she? I haven't seen her yet.
She's not on it. All right. So a question here, Mr. Patterson, quickly. Patriotic Vibes is asking, don't you think, Mr. Patterson, that some of your citizens are to be blamed for the demise of some of the infrastructure in Jamaica?
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, let me put it up on the screen. So,
Yes.
don't you think, Mr. Patterson, that some of our citizens are to be blamed for the demise of some of the infrastructure in Jamaica?
Absolutely not. Not at all. You see, the way I look at government is you have a role. The role of government is to deal with the fact that you're going to have good and bad citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And your job is to make sure the bad don't overcome the good. So you're going to have some citizens who will want to litter and some who would not want to litter. You must make sure those who don't litter feel good about doing it and are rewarded for not doing it. And those who litter feel bad about doing it and are punished for doing it. If you fail to properly manage, then those who litter will feel good about it and will not be punished about it, and you'll get more and more littering. For example, if you create a country where crime goes mostly unpunished, you'll get more criminals. If you have a company and the company has poor controls, you'll get more slackness in that company. More will come to work late, more will stay for lunch late, more will finish the work day and their productivity was very low, and they'll continue to collect their pay. Over time, the company will go bankrupt, plain and simple. Who would you blame for that? The employees or the management? I blame the management. The management must make sure so you have controls in place so those employees who are not prepared to work properly are punished accordingly. So if they can't come to work on time, dismiss them. If they can't do the work for which they were hired, dismiss them. If they're not prepared to adjust their behaviors to have conduct that is going to cause our customers to be happy and do repeat business, dismiss them. In other words, if you don't put in proper controls that rewards good behavior and punish bad behavior, you're going to get more bad behavior. So I don't blame the people. I blame the management. I blame the government.
Yes. And I mean, as you said, the buck stops with the management. You know, at the end of the day, they are the ones who have been given the mandate to guide and direct the country. All right, another question here from Lady Williams. Mr. Patterson, if the Jamaican people should come together and sign a petition to remove this government, would that be enough to get the old criminals out of power before the next election?
No, it will not, because who will you be petitioning? You cannot petition the government to destroy itself. It will not. The two political parties, no matter how low the voter turnout is, they're happy to continue. They and the PSOJ and the colonial masters are happy to keep Jamaica where it is. So who are you petitioning? Are you petitioning the King of England to say dissolve the parliament? Are you petitioning the parliament to say dissolve yourself? Are you petitioning the PSOJ oligarchy that funds the two parties to say stop funding them and let them die? The best petition we can send to the government of Jamaica is a petition where we go to the ballot box and vote for the UIC. And the way to have that done is to make sure that all of us come together and have 228 candidates that are properly funded by us, have 63 candidates for the general election that are funded by us, and we in turn join volunteer and donate, and then go and vote, so that in the end we will have a UIC government. That's the best petition. So let us petition ourselves by getting ourselves organized to remove these two parties from power and give ourselves a fighting chance to create a new and better Jamaica. So that's the goal.
All right,
Okay,
so
how's it going with ABS? Anything from ABS?
I'm not seeing anything.
Let me check my thing here, see if I'm not seeing anything at all from her. All right, do you have a contact for her to reach out to her to see what's going on?
Yes, I will contact her. While I'm contacting her, there's another question that popped up. Or you want to answer something else?
I was going to respond to D that says, she paid £100 for dropping a cigarette butt in, I guess, in England, and that's good in the UK. Perfect. I was driving the other day along Hope Road. My wife and I were heading up to Devon House, and I was driving and I saw a fellow drink a juice and was eating something, and he just walked and he just dropped it on the road, and I blew him. I honked my horn and got his attention and called him and said, "Well, man, no litter the place, man. Take up the stuff now." And him said, "Man, not litter the place. A garbage over there, so." I said, "No, man, there's a garbage." I said, "That's not a garbage bin. Take it up, man, and carry it to somewhere." And him say, "Look over there, and I see a whole heap of garbage over there already." I said, "Yeah, but I'm a garbage bin, boss. Take it up." And him just say, "All right, boss, cool." And I thought he was going to take it and him just walk past it and go about his business. Why he did that? Because there are no consequences. He wasn't even looking around to see if anybody going to see him and say, "Here's a ticket, a fine for doing this." No responsibility, no accountability. And yes, I know the politicians when I say the people are nasty. No, the people are a reflection of their leaders.
Yeah.
The people are, every nastiness you see in Jamaica is a reflection of a nasty government because they condone it. They allow it. Look at election time. At election time, they encourage all kind of slackness. Andrew Holness will now go and lock up people for doing various things. But at election time, you will see his people hanging out of buses, zigzagging in the road, doing all kind of things, disturbing the peace, all kind of stuff. And it's okay for them. But then when it suits them, they suddenly want to clear off people off the sidewalk who are disorderly. They want to lock up somebody who tried to open a gate when they shouldn't have. When they themselves have broken all the rules. All these two parties, everything that they may try to lock you up for or punish you for, they have done all of them in one form or another. I'm hearing a background noise coming
Sorry,
through here.
that's me. Sorry.
Yes. So is she ready yet? Is she on?
Still not on. I sent a message, but I haven't heard back from her.
Well, we continue. We continue with our program. Sorry about that, guys. We're waiting for This Is Abs, but she's not yet on, so we will continue with our program. Let's take some more questions or comments.
What are some of the ways to remove a prime minister before their full term?
Well, Jamaica does not have any mechanism to remove, for us the people, we the people outside, to remove a prime minister before their full term. There's no recall process here in Jamaica. However, if the members of the prime minister's party decides to have a no confidence vote, they have lost confidence in him, then they could bring that forward within parliament, and obviously they would have the majority and could vote. Even if they don't have a strong majority and other members of the opposition wishes to join, in which they gladly would, they would have a no confidence vote and then he would be removed. But generally speaking, Jamaica doesn't make any provisions for us to get rid of. The way to get rid of is for we the people to rise up. There's no structured process. We have to rise up. When I call Jamaicans and say, let us go out and let us, because you see, it's by our numbers, that we send a message. So if we go out on the street and say enough is enough, and only 50 persons show up, that's very clear that for the other 2.9 million, enough is not enough. Them think they're happy with it. So the government say, yeah, there you go, UIC, move from here. So the people have spoken. They don't see what you're saying as being relevant. If we all don't donate and make the UIC a relevant political party by having the funds to go where you want to see me go, you want me to go all over the place? I need money to do that. I mean, for me to leave here and go to Kingston alone, it's 2.5 hours drive, $13,000 to $14,000 in gas. Yeah, round trip. So who pays for that? And when I drop into all those potholes along the way, who pays to fix the vehicle? Where does the money come from? I really want us to start being very, very intelligent about politics in this country and stop allowing ourselves to be fooled. Politics is not fairy tale. I know the other two parties, they have tricked us into thinking politics is fairy tale, that politicians must come around and hand out gifts to everybody and then you go and vote. That's fairy tale. The real truth about politics is that the PSOJ gives them those money to create the fairy tale impression in your mind. So that all you go and do, you just go and vote because you only see the fairy tale. You see nice Lisa Anna posing in different pictures and looking nice and pretty. You see nice Damian Crawford. You see Prime Minister traveling across the country. You see opposition leader going to every event or every issue. Yes, because somebody is paying them to do that. And after they get paid to do it, you get fooled to vote. And after you vote, you live miserable for the next 4 to 5 years. And yes, you may vote them out. But then what? You're just voting the other side of the coin that is still controlled by the same puppet masters. So you vote for the PNP. Now, we're tired of the GLP, them bad and wicked. Vote PNP. Sure. 4 years later or 8 years later, we're tired of the PNP, them bad and wicked. Vote GLP. Then what? 4 years, 8 years later, the same thing again. You see what is going on here? We have been duped, guys. We have been tricked. The only people who win after every election is the PSOJ oligarchy. The laws and rules will still work for them. They will get the government contracts. They will get the government interest on those big loans that they lend to the government that we're paying interest on. They will get laws that are written to protect them and to suppress your business, suppress small and micro businesses. So it's time for us to wake up, see the trick, and say, we now have to own our own party. We, the people, have to come together and own our party, separate and apart from the parties owned by the PSOJ and the colonial masters. Why do you think Andrew wanted to juke you? Why do you think why he locked down our country? Because the colonial masters were paying him to do so. And they act on behalf of those who are paying them. So all I'm saying is, let us fund the UIC. Let us pay ourselves down. All of us can't be in politics at the forefront. So I have taken the step forward and others have taken it with me. You have to fund us to represent you, to fight for you, to protect you, to defend you, to give you the country you want. And if you don't do it, somebody else will. Somebody else will pay the other guys to represent them, to do what them want, and to do it to us. And we can always sit there and hope and wish and pray that somehow the situation changes. It will never change until you change and until I change.
Well said, Mr. Patterson. Question here from K. Watson. Can the opposition call a referendum for the resignation of Holness or not, for his reckless handling?
No, the opposition cannot call for a referendum. The way our governance work, a referendum needs a 2/3 majority of the House. So they would have to be voting to destroy themselves, which they'll never do. Yeah, they're never going to come together and vote to destroy themselves. You have to destroy them. You have to vote to destroy them. You have to say, we are going to come together and we're going to have a referendum in the next election. We're going to have a referendum where we're going to vote UIC. But remember, there will not be a UIC on the ballot if we don't have money to have candidates on the ballot. So if you just wait and say, okay, I'm going to vote UIC when the time comes. Yes, but if UIC doesn't have candidates and doesn't have the money for those candidates to be heard, to be engaged in the community, to go around the media and find alternative ways to get through to people. If we can, right now we're going to Era Circle and Clifton and Bernard Lodge, Lloyders Vale in St. Catherine, right? We had to come on the other night and beg money for pay for a coaster bus. Beg. And somebody immediately donated $350. Thank you very much. Another person donated $100. Thank you very much. And so on. Now, just imagine if we never had to come on and beg, because 1,000 of us every month gave $25 US every month, or more, or less. Because some might only be able to give $5, some 10, some 15, some 20, but whatever. But just imagine if we had 1,000, it's very simple. If we had 1,000 persons giving $25 a month, that would be 25,000 US dollars every month, times exchange rate of 155, that would be $3.8 million a month, times 12, that would be $46 million a month. We would be able to fund, even though this is much smaller than what the other two parties are getting. Remember, the other two parties got $330 million just for the election. Not even what they get before, just for the election, for a few weeks. They got $330 million from our wonderful friends in the PSOJ oligarchy. Yeah. So they are dead serious. The PSOJ people, them dead serious to hold on to this system. But we're not serious. You know how much money the UIC got last year, approximately, from everybody who donated? 3 million Jamaican dollars for the entire year. 3 million Jamaican dollars is what all of us from all over the place donated to the UIC. That's what we have been subsisting on. That's how we have been struggling to survive. So far this year, we have gotten about roughly, close to 3 million already, again this year, roughly. Should be more, but somewhere there. Now, if we had 1,000 Jamaicans giving an average of 25 US dollars, some giving more, some giving less, but it averages out to 25 US dollars per month by 1,000 Jamaicans, we would have enough to make sure we have 228 candidates on the ballot come election day for the local government election. That would be enough to make sure we have 63 candidates on the ground on election day. And before that, communicating and connecting with people. Without that, we can't do it. I'm still pushing, I'm still pushing, I'm still trying. We, the team, we're working and with the little that we have. But if we don't do it, if you don't step up and do more than just wish and hope and pray, we will not have those candidates on the ballot, Mr. Harper.
Yep. Another question here from Devereaux. I have an idea about schools. Why not make all schools technical high schools that cater to all paths that a student might take instead of making special needs schools?
Well, we are not going to make all schools technical schools. We're not going to do that. We're going to make an education system that is able to evolve and respond to the needs of the Jamaican people. So the UICSA has this approach to life where we strongly believe that we don't know everything. We strongly believe that there are so many brains and minds in the world, in our country, outside of our country. The model that has been followed so far in Jamaica is that 63 men and women know what's best for everybody. That's the model that we have been following, and it has proven to be a very destructive model. The model the UIC is following now is a model that says we want to ensure a school system that is able to be diverse, that will respond to the different needs in the country and globally. So suppose you have Mr. Williams, or Dev, I'm guessing it's a Mr. I'm not sure. Dev.
Yes, it's a Mr.
It's a Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Williams. Let's say we have a brilliant Jamaican somewhere out there in the world. We get donations from as far as Australia. Let's say we have a brilliant Jamaican in Australia. We also get donations from Japan. Let's say we have a brilliant Jamaican in Japan. He has a brilliant idea about a kind of school that he thinks would do very well. I want him to be able to come home and start that school. Even if he doesn't come home fully, and he has the money to invest and he can organize the people and start that school. It may be different from whatever you and I would think of. It has different compartments, different arrangements, things that I can't even imagine right now, because it's going to be innovative, it's going to be creative. And he has a government that facilitates him being able to come here and do that. And guess what happened? He sets it up. He calls it the Devereaux Williams School. And lo and behold, we're all amazed when we see what that school is doing, how successful it is at teaching, how the methodologies it's using are very effective, and nobody else had thought about it before. But now we get to see it and learn from it. But suppose we continue the model we have now, the monolithic model, where some 45 politicians or less, controlled by one small group of PSOJ oligarchs and outside forces, colonial powers, get to put one path, one primary path, one basic curriculum and stick that into everybody and say, this is what you must do. And we lose out from learning from all the other bright people in the world. I want to hear from and see the products of all 6 to 7 million Jamaicans here at home and abroad. I want a country that allows the genius of all of these people to come forward, and not a system which says, we know everything that's best and we're going to lock us into this only path and no other path must be allowed. We want to have an open society, a democratic society, if you will, a free society, one that allows us to learn from each other and build on the shoulders of giants in every single industry or sector.
All right, so Maurice is saying, I received my 2 shirts. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Maurice. He needs 50 buttons more. All right, so question from the BAU. Mr. Patterson, do you think it's possible to get the 63% who are fed up to participate in the next election?
Absolutely. If the UIC had the money right now to go around the country and educate the people like people want us to do, but we can't do because we don't have the money. If the UIC had the money to go around the country en masse, it's over. The only reason why the Jamaican people are still in the state of confusion and depression that they're in, without a clear path to get ourselves out of this in their minds, is because the UIC has not had the funds to be able to go around the country and impact the country fully. Every time we go on the road, the people are very happy to see us. They learn so much from us and they're ready to move. But they can't get that because we have not been able to move as efficiently and effectively as we want to, because we just do not have the money. It's that simple. We're thankful for what we have. The monies that we have gotten so far has helped us to push and push and push ahead. But we do need more. Or we also need more brilliant minds to come on board and say, okay, Mr. Patterson, you don't need money. Here's how you can do it. And show us. Don't tell me. We have so many people who want to advise me. Come and show us. Come on board and show us how brilliant you are, how you could do this much better than the rest of us. Come and show us how to do it. Don't just tell us online. Join the movement and get involved and volunteer for a role. Like we have our newest addition to the board, Christine Mensa, who is now our fundraising director. She's going to show us. She's an expert at fundraising. She has a very strong resume. She has done this in the past in bigger organization than ours. And so she stepped forward. She's going to show us how it's done. That's what we want. People to show us, not just sit on the sidelines and tell us or criticize us for not doing what they think we should do. You have people who even leave the movement and say, we're not doing enough. But they haven't done anything, but they're leaving the movement because we're not doing enough. Don't leave the movement because we're not doing enough. Come and do enough. Show us how you can do it.
Yeah. So I got a message from Abby. I don't know what time she's starting her live, but she says you should be coming on at 8:30.
Okay, all right. Well, let's continue. We'll continue.
Yeah. Okay, so
Alex Baxter says that's why you need to answer the Instagram messages. What is he talking about? Alex, Alex, call me now. Alex Baxter. Obviously, there's something that is not working for you. Give us a call. 2930812 876-29308. Anybody who is out there right now who you have heard something that doesn't make sense to you, or you want to clarify something, or you want to challenge me on something, please call at 876-2930812 and let's have a talk. Next question or comment, Mr. Harper.
Comment. Someone says UIC all the way. Let me bring it on screen. UIC all the way got discouraged and lost track when Mr. Patterson gave a lame excuse for not standing by the teachers on their protest, just trying to catch up again. Okay, uplifted.
When you get comments like those, what does that mean? What is the lame excuse that was given for not standing by the teachers? What does it mean to stand by the teachers on their protest? What does it mean to stand? The UIC stands with all Jamaicans who are protesting bad governance. What does it mean to stand by the teachers? Does it mean running down to the teachers' protest and pushing myself up in the front of it without their permission? Risking the teachers saying, this is not a political statement we're trying to make, we don't come and mess up and mix up in our process. We're very respectful. When we have a protest, we tell people what the parameters are, and we say all are invited and whatever it is. If the teachers or the nurses or the doctors or the garbage men or the taxi drivers are having a protest, if they do not say they want us to be a part of their protest, we're not going to just go and push ourselves in front and try to hog the mic. Everybody in Jamaica who knows about the UIC knows that we stand for good governance. We stand for fairness. We stand for equity. We stand for our teachers being compensated properly. We stand for a good education system and so on. So what does it mean giving a lame excuse for not standing by the teachers? We stand by the teachers. And I've said that over and over. But what does that mean? It means the UIC has an answer for the teachers, for the education system, and it's very important that we understand what that is and not simply say we show up at a protest. I personally am not going to just show up at anybody's protest. I will never do that. If they invite me, I'm going to go there. Again, of course, if I've been invited to protest, I have not gone to. Because if it's not appropriate, if I don't fully understand the reason for your protest and what you're asking for, and it makes sense to me, then I'm not going to go. But generally speaking, if I'm invited to a legitimate protest, I'm going to attend.
All right, Devereaux asking another question. How will the UIC convince the people that we are not scammers? I feel the people will donate if they are confident.
Devereaux, how do you suggest we do that? The UIC currently, we publish our financials. By the way, the UIC is a registered political party which must submit to the ECJ, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, audited financial statements every year. You should know that if the UIC is doing anything untoward, the ECJ, which is fully controlled by the other two parties and has no representation from the UIC on that body, would look for every opportunity to discredit the movement. You know that. So I'm not sure what else we need to do. We come on to these platforms, we lay bare our financials, we show everything. The UIC is the most transparent party in the history of Jamaica. There's no other political party that has been as transparent as the UIC. So with all of that transparency, if people want to still believe that we're scammers, there's nothing we can do. How are we going to help them? If we show you our financials, if we submit audited financials every year, if we answer any questions you ask about our financials, if we come on and do programs after programs detailing our financials, how much more do you want us to do to convince you that we're not scammers? Next question.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of, from K. Watson, sorry. Have you ever thought of an onboard system to register new members while you are traveling on the road? I get to understand that a lot of people don't have Wi-Fi.
We do have a process that we follow when we're on the road. We always register people on the road. But thank you for that. We'll look at the process more closely and see if there's anything else we can do to improve. A lot of persons may not have Wi-Fi, but a lot of persons do. Like the vast majority of Jamaicans now have a smartphone and are able to, if they're really interested, and they can't escape it much longer now because they're all being forced now to get NIDS cards and to get digital currency. So, it will be odd that, many persons still don't have, basic access at a minimal level. Now, people engage, in things that they want. I mean, in my community here, when there's a dance going on, people find the time and energy and everything to get to it, and the money. So it's a matter of what is important to you. If you value what we're talking about, you're going to make an effort. Next question.
Well, really, a comment from D. I would really like to join the UIC, but I don't want people to send gunmen for me. I need to feel safe. That is the reason I do not get involved. I'm a UK resident for 36 years, not used to the dirty politics.
Okay, D, you have absolutely very little to worry about. Being a UIC member in the UK is one of the safest ways to be a UIC member. If you're in the UK or Canada or US, you're very, very safe. You're not a risk enough for them to come after you in the UK. So don't worry about it. As a matter of fact, being a UIC member here in Jamaica is not very risky either. I know they want you to worry about, they want you to be fearful. As I said a few times before, the way to control people from slavery until now is through fear, ignorance, and poverty. And so they've had you in fear, and because of that, they're able to limit your involvement, which then limits the possibility of the UIC to grow. Many persons have avoided joining the UIC here in Jamaica because they're afraid. What they don't know is that they should be afraid of what's going to happen if we do not succeed as the UIC, right? It means if the UIC fails, you're talking about Jamaica being more crime-ridden than it is now. You're talking about more Jamaicans being poor than they are now. You're talking about more of Jamaica being owned by foreign interests than they are now. So it's a good idea, a very important idea, that we actually move quickly to rescue our country via the UIC.
Yes. So Deborah is saying, I feel the youth is the key. If the youth can be convinced that this is their movement, they will jump on it. That's from Deborah.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, we just need to convince ourselves, right? All of us have to be convinced that we want to do this. I saw somebody make a comment about getting the dancehall artists involved.
Yes.
I think it would be great if the dancehall artists were to get involved. It would be great. Unfortunately, they have not gotten involved. Many of the influencers around Jamaica are contented to sit on the sidelines and watch like everybody else. They don't invite me to have a conversation. They don't get involved. I mean, some have inched out. You've had a few of them who have stepped out a little bit and had a bit of a conversation, but most of them are afraid to get involved. And I guess it's the same thing like everybody else. Everybody's afraid. We're all slaves. Slaves are afraid. We're just afraid. And what are we afraid of? We're afraid of being victimized. We're afraid of losing our status and popularity. Suppose I was afraid. There'd be no UIC. I mean, all my family members were afraid. Everybody was afraid. No, you shouldn't do that. No, it's too dangerous. Everybody is afraid. What's going to happen if we're all afraid? What would happen if Sam Sharp remained afraid? Yes, he died in the process. Nani remained afraid. Gordon remained afraid. Bogle remained afraid. Garvey. If all of these guys remained afraid, we would still be in chains today. Can you imagine? You and I would be born. Remember, the slavery lasted for some 400 years. That's not a short period of time. Just imagine if some people didn't decide to not be afraid. You and I might have been born in chains just the same way.
Yep.
So if we do not decide to stop being afraid, the chains we're now in, the chains of bad governance, the chains of politics, the chains of a fraudulent monetary system, and it's coming fast enough. In a few more months, I don't know when, but it's coming fast. You are going to find you have a chain on called a digital currency.
A digital chain.
Which is going to take away all of your rights to choose. You will have no right to choose what to buy, when to buy, and who to buy from. You will have no right to make decisions that is not in keeping with the government's dictates. And remember, our government is not our government. Our government is a puppet of some other group of people. Yeah? So that other group of people will tell your government, listen, it's time for you to make sure that all Jamaicans take this medication that we prescribe. And if you don't take that medication that they prescribe, they will say, okay, all the persons who don't want to take it, turn off their digital currency. So they will wake up in the morning with their phones and say, I go buy some food. And when they go, click, 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 nothing, what happened? We're sorry, but you have not yet taken your injection. Please take your injection so you can make your purchase. There's an injection site just next door where you are right now. It's only 25 feet away. Turn to your left and go there and take your injection and come back, and then you can buy the bread and butter you want to buy. That's where we're heading, folks.
Yep.
And unfortunately, many people are still sleeping. They're going to wait until it is too late. Then they're going to say, oh my God, we should have listened to those UIC people and take back our country. Now you're going to have to fight harder. Now you're going to have to really fight. I mean, really, really fight. And guess what? If you're afraid to fight now, you won't fight then. Next question.
The Costa is asking, what is your take on having fixed term elections and disclosure of party findings? Funding, sorry.
Well, party funding must fully be disclosed, but they're doing some of that right now. The disclosure doesn't change anything. Right now, we know that the two parties got $330 million from the PSOJ oligarchy. It's good to know, so that's good. It's I believe in full disclosure, and it's good to know, but that will not change anything. Knowing how much is disclosed is good, very, very good, but it does not change the problem. Fixed term elections is good, but it does not fix the problem. All that will happen, remember, you can't fix the term of the PSOJ oligarchies. They're in office forever, for as long as they shall live, because they're buying the politician. So if you say, Andrew, you only get 2 terms, fine. He goes in for 2 terms and he works for the PSOJ oligarchy and he leaves. You say, Mark, you only get 2 terms. Fine. Mark goes in and he works for 2 terms for the oligarchs and he leaves. What has changed? It's time for us to go deeper than these surface solutions they give us to have conversations and debates about, instead of getting to the real problem. The real problem is that our system is fraudulent. The 2 parties are funded by one primary donor source to do the work of that source. The UIC has a true solution, 100% public funding of candidates, irrespective of your party or no party. So now we've removed the party control over the candidates. We've removed the PSOJ control over the candidates. And the candidates now are all funded equally, not in money, but in kind. So they all get access to radio, all get access to TV, all get access to the internet, all get access to town hall meetings, and all get access to debates. Structured, simple, inexpensive, transparent, and completely accessible. So whether you're rich or whether you're poor, nobody has any more financial advantage over another person, and nobody is beholden to the rich and powerful for having been elected. So when they're elected now, since they're only beholden to the people who elect them, they can focus on representing the people who elect them instead of trying to play the game of looking like they care for the poor while working for the rich. Did I lose you, Mr. Harper?
Sorry, I'm seeing that Abs is on live now. So,
Sorry?
Abs, sorry, it's playing in the background.
Says the Prime
Let me see
Minister
if
should
I can
ensure
mute
all
it.
parliamentarians are trained in governance.
Right. So
I'm not
Abs has
following.
started. Sorry, Abs has started her live stream.
Okay, so I don't see her on my thing here. Let me go and check again. If I
reload your
I see what I can do here. I think I have an idea. Let me do this here, and I should be able to see. This is Abs. I'm going there now, and how do I do this? I do this here. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. Let me just connect. Just a minute.
All right, guys. So while Mr. Patterson connects, let's see, get this. So please remember, guys, to like the video, like and share. The more people that hear about the UIC is, the more people that will know about the UIC. I'm seeing a lot of comments of people saying that people don't know about the UIC. And, you could see that as a bad thing, or you could see that as a good thing. If they don't know about the UIC, now is your chance and opportunity to share the UIC with them. The UIC is really, look at the UIC like a startup company. A lot of people may not know about the UIC, or a lot of people do not know about the UIC. And that could be a good thing, because now here's your opportunity to share with as many people. No one can say to you, oh yeah, I know about the UIC. They don't know about the UIC. So here is your opportunity now to share and tell them about the UIC. Yes, Mr. Patterson, you're back.
All right, good. So she's reading the news right now, and when she finishes, then she will get us in. All right. So, do you have any more questions here for me?
We have a couple more questions. Relaxation Music says, or is asking, what are the qualifications to run for a seat in Jamaica?
All right. Currently, the qualification is that you are of the appropriate age, and that you are a citizen of Jamaica, and that you have ordinarily resided in Jamaica for the last 12 months. That's it. There's not even a requirement that you can read or write.
That's crazy.
No, the UIC's approach is very different. For us, our system is going to be different. Our system is going to require that you pass a good governance exam, that you take a course that shows that you understand and have the competences to truly represent your constituents and participate in the whole process of lawmaking and governance and so on. And then with that, you have to demonstrate that you have some nominees that are willing to give you their votes. You go, around your community, you get that, and so on and so forth. So we have a much more structured system. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back with you.
Sure. Question from K. Watson. It's saying, can you please keep the website on screen? Viewers are still asking how to become members. All right, so you can go to our website. Let me find why isn't this, Right, so you can go on our website, www.uicjamaica.com, and register to be a member. So you can register there to be a member. You can also register to donate there, and register to volunteer there as well. And as we've been saying throughout this program, we really need your help. We really need your support, financially as well as voluntarily, if there's such a word. We need your help in all areas.
That's correct. Voluntarily. We need 3 things from people. We need your time, your talent, and your treasure. Time, talent, treasure. Or we needed to join, volunteer, and donate. Join, volunteer, donate. Join, volunteer, donate. Very simple. When you join the movement, you're sending a signal Just imagine if we had a membership base of 500,000 Jamaican worldwide. Right now we have about 3,000 on record, on electronic record. There's another about two to 3,000 that's not on electronics. So they're paper based, and we have about 3,000 plus electronics. So call it altogether 6,000 voters/supporters. Of that, only a small number actually pay their membership dues. Yeah. The membership dues is simple, very, very simple. Membership dues, if you're in Jamaica, it's less than $250 a week. Can you imagine that? Just imagine if 500,000 Jamaicans paid $250 a week, what that would mean for us to be able to carry out our work. And if you're overseas, the membership fee is only $10 or the equivalent of that in your respective country. That means less than $2.50 US a week is the contribution. Just imagine if we had 500,000 members in the diaspora giving $2.50 US per week. That's how you take back your country, guys. That's your vote. Every dollar you give to make this movement fully available, fully financed to do the work for you is a vote for a new Jamaica. You don't even have to come to Jamaica to physically vote, even though we want that. But you don't even have to come. Every time you donate, you're voting because you're helping us to reach voters here in Jamaica. So one member, one person in the diaspora giving $25 a month may be able to generate 1,000 votes on the ground here in Jamaica. So you don't even come in now. You're there and you're giving $25 a month or $50 a month or $100 or $5 or $10. And you are helping to cause people here to vote for the movement. That's how powerful it is. If you see how they do it in other countries, the people just get crazy, man, and say, we want change. They get really aggressive. We want change. And they get up and go for it. They don't say, we want change. Let me see if change is going to come. Let's have a prior meeting for change to come. Let's have a hoping session for change to come. No, they get up. They get excited. When I came back to Jamaica some 11, 12 years ago, I was on fire. Well, I still am. I'm still on fire. I want change in my country. And I want that fire to become yours. I want that fire to well up in you. I'm tired of this. Enough is enough. Let's do away with this PNP and GLP dichotomy, this trickery, this division, this distraction, this systematic stealth-like extraction of our wealth by some wicked people hiding behind jacket and tie and stocking and heels. Let us say enough is enough. Get excited, get engaged. Every Jamaican should find $250 a week. Every Jamaican can find $250 a week, no matter how poor you are. You could live in a sardine can, a little box. You can find $250 to free your country, to free your child, to free your grandchild from a future of frustration and poverty. If you live abroad, you can find $2.50 US a week to say, I want a Jamaica that I can retire in and my children can come back home to and don't have to be afraid to travel from Kingston to Montego Bay or from St. Anne to St. Elizabeth or from Portland to Hanover. I've said enough. Back to you, Mr. Harper.
Well, following up on that question, I think you answered part of it already, but please explain to the people who are in the diaspora how to get on the voters list. We need their votes. This is from Patricia Burgess.
Hello, can you see me? All right, one second. Let me see if this works. How is this? Any better now?
Yes, that is better.
Wonderful. Thank you. I have a problem now because I want to make sure our friends online can hear you.
Hi,
So, so hold on, Mr. Harper. No, because I want to make sure I'm blocking that. 1 second. I'm going to do a mic check here. I'm going to switch something here. So that we can do this together. All right. So let's see. Say something. Let me see if they can hear you. I'm going to switch something here.
Okay.
So that we can be in this together. All right. Say something. Let me see if they can hear you.
Okay, hi, Mr.
All
President.
right. Now, everybody online, can you hear the good lady? This is Abs speaking. Give me a yes if you can hear her. Say something else, my dear. Say something else. Tell me how much you have learned about the UIC. This is Abs speaking. Give me a yes if you can hear her. Say something else, my dear. Something else. Tell me,
Alright, so
tell me.
guys, for all of you guys on my conversation, I think it was last week, but we definitely had to have a part two because the conversation stretches wide and deep, so we had to bring it back for part two. And I know a lot of you guys have questions that you didn't get to ask, so you can ask him.
All right, wonderful. So I'm very happy to be here. My people on this end say they can hear you loud and clear. So we're good to go. Let's rock. On this end say they can hear you loud and clear. So we're good to go.
And guys, on my live, are you hearing the president loud and clear? Just comment yes if you're hearing him loud and clear. All right. So for those who are new here, I'm going to ask the president to introduce himself. Just tell us your name, where you're from.
All right. So my name is Joseph Patterson. I was born in Kingston, August 2nd, 1971. I currently live in St. Elizabeth, where I migrated or immigrated, whichever one you want to call it, when I came back to Jamaica from Canada. I left Jamaica to live in Canada when I was about 23 years old, and I came back when I was 40 years old. And I've been here since, about 12 years now. Something interesting about myself, I am a vegetarian for about 20 years now. And I've been married to my wife, my high school sweetheart, which I met in grade 8 for the last 28 years. So we've known each other now for some 30 odd years, and we got married right after college. And we have 3 beautiful children, all girls, young adults now, doing very well on their own, independent women. And so that's me, Joseph Patterson. Oh, I'm a CPA, a chartered professional accountant. So I've been in the finance industry now for some 25 years. I consider myself to be a money expert. They call me the money doctor. So yeah, so that's me.
Okay. What kind of phone are you using? Is it an iPhone?
I'm on a Android phone, and my people here want you to speak up louder because they can hear you, but you're a bit faint. So lift the volume.
The thing is, your phone keeps vibrating and it's really low. So you might have to put it on silent and it's not on vibrate, or if it's an iPhone, you put it on do not disturb.
Okay, let me see if this will help. I think I know what's going on. Let me see here, because I tried to put this up here. Let me see if this will work. All right. It keeps 1 second. Let me see if I can fix it here. All right.
There it goes again.
Oh, you're hearing like the other stuff in the background.
I just heard a vibration.
All right. Let me see if I can take that off. 1 second. I hope I can do this proper. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can. There we go. All right. Take off the ringtone. All right, so here we go. I think that's now working. Yes, turn the picture. 1 second. Yeah.
I had updated the app and I had updated my phone. And since then, the live was up on at all, and I'm live now from an iPad. So yeah, we have an issue. Are you ready to go, Mr. President?
Yes, I'm ready to go. For you on the live here on YouTube and so on, I hear you're having an echo. I'm sorry about that. I'm not too sure how to fix it, but let's survive. We'll continue. Go ahead.
So for those who are new here, just give us a quick backstory. What is the UIC? When it was formed and why it was formed?
Sure. So the UIC is Jamaica's official third political party. We came into existence through that system on December 2nd, 2019. The purpose of the UIC is really to fix the system of bad governance that we have had for the last 78 years. As you know, the first election occurred in 1944 when we got so-called universal adult suffrage. The first election was won by the JLP, and they served for 2 terms, and then after that the PNP. They have exchanged terms since then until now for 78 years. The system that they have adopted and embraced from then until now has only served to undermine the economy of the Jamaican people and left too many of us without the kind of economic conditions that we need to do very well. The UIC wants to fix that. We want to return Jamaica fully to the Jamaican people, achieve full and true independence, ensure we have a governance model that protects our rights as individuals, protect our sovereignty as people, and ensure that overall we have a safe, clean, and orderly country where every citizen can live, earn, and retire with dignity.
Okay, so the last time we spoke about a very pressing issue, and that's the issue of crime. So for those of before I get clear, someone is asking about your educational background. You become so educated. So tell us about your educational background, please.
Sure. You'll be surprised to know that I failed common entrance twice. So back in the day, today we have GSAT, right? Back then in my time, we had so-called common entrance. I failed common entrance twice, and then I failed the technical entrance as well. So I was what you call back then a pretty dunce. I went to Spanish Town Secondary, which is where you put the dumb students back in those days. So, in those days, if you're not doing well academically, you go to what they call a new secondary school. So Spanish Town Secondary is where I ended up. My stepmother told my dad that since I can't do much with my head, they must send me to somewhere where I can do something with my hands. So I went to Spanish Town Secondary to learn a trade. And by the way, I learned the trade of electrical. I learned electrical installation. However, at Spanish Town Secondary, I expanded tremendously, getting involved in everything from being head boy, being student council president, starting the science club, drama club, debating society. I was the captain for the quiz team, and we won our first school challenge quiz when I was in grade 10 as the captain. And then from there, I got a scholarship to go to St. Andrew Technical High School, where I also excelled, became head boy, founded the math club, president of Key Club, literary club editor, junior achievement VP of finance, student council president, represented Jamaica twice in the US, debating society leader, and also Gleaner Company article writing gold medalist. From there, I got a full scholarship to go to UTech, where I studied engineering. I got a full scholarship from STATS, the Isaac Henry Scholarship. I did engineering at UTech. And then shortly after that, I taught at Kingston Technical. I taught physics, engineering science, and mathematics. And then I got a job with the sugar company, where I was the assistant manager for instrumentation and controls before migrating to Canada and becoming doing another degree in accounting science and management, and then becoming a chartered professional accountant and a certified general accountant, and then work my way up to becoming a director of finance in the government.
Oh, okay. All right. That answered
Mhm.
Some people are here on my life for the first time, or they weren't here for the first conversation that we had. So one of the most pressing issues that we're dealing with now as a country is the issue of crime. So I'm going to ask you again to tell us about the crime plan at the UIC and how does the UIC plan to tackle crime?
Yes. So the entire UIC manifesto is about solving the problem
The
of
entire
crime.
UIC manifesto is about solving the problem of crime. Um, because you don't solve crime by simply declaring states of emergencies or calling an area a zone of special operations. The way you solve crime is by first and foremost having a system of governance with appropriate checks and balances to prevent corruption. Corruption is a key driver of crime in Jamaica. In fact, it is through corruption why politicians were able to bring guns into the country and give these to people and create garrison communities and create dons in those communities and give them government contracts so that they could have the monies to create voter enclaves for them. So political corruption is the heart of the crime problem. That's number one. So we're going to approach crime from two angles. A top-down approach where we're going to go after those who are the mastermind, the ringleaders, the kingpins, those who are wearing jackets and ties and pretending to be upstanding citizens while they're facilitating crime at the bottom. Then we're going to attack it from the bottom up by dealing with the socio-economic needs of those who are on the margins, building the economy from the bottom up. So you're talking about providing proper capital for the small, micro, and medium enterprises. You're talking about a youth enterprise, a youth employment solution that's going to make sure children leaving school, whether if they're not going on to college or university, they have a paid internship, a paid apprenticeship program where they're paid to learn and to develop their skills on the job and remove from being a part of gangs. We're also going to ensure that we reform our military so that they become effective border control agents, preventing guns and ammunition from coming into the country in the first place. Once we stop the massive flow of illegal guns and ammunition, you won't have them available to be a part of the crime program. Then we want to implement a workfare program. Listen carefully, not welfare, but a workfare program where the adults know those who have missed the boat. The system failed them. They're now in their 30s, 40s, and 50s and unemployed, underemployed. The workfare program is going to bring those people back into the working pool through a systematic approach of having them in areas like forestry, the agro sector, and other areas. Bring them in and give them the work that they need so that they can be less prone to engage in criminal activities. So our approach is very, very different, very focused on ensuring that the Jamaican people gets the system and structures they need to avoid crime from the very beginning.
Somebody in the comments said you have to start the work from now because if you can't convince the grassroots people, your chances are very slim.
Okay. Well, the work has been started. So we started the work years ago when I came back to Jamaica in 2011. Within 2 years of coming back and seeing how bad the country was, I started the work then, and I've been working since. What that person needs to know, though, it's not about me starting the work or me doing the work. It's us doing the work. So they need to join the UIC, and if they want a better country, if they want new Jamaica, they have to see themselves as a part of the solution and join hands with me in the UIC to make this a reality. The longer we wait, them including me, the longer we wait, is the more Jamaica is going to be less governable, and the effective of that governance is going to overtake us permanently.
All right, so someone in the chat, his name is Idle Thinker, very, very smart man. His way of thinking is just, it's out of this world. He says that all of what you're saying sounds good. However, a lot of people are just too ignorant to even understand what you're saying. So how are you going to get through to these people? How?
Well, I'm amazed because the person who's asking that question is one of us. We're all Jamaicans. And if they can understand what I'm saying, then others will be able to. And all they need to worry about is making sure that they get involved. If you join me, that's two of us. And if two of us bring one more person each, that's four of us. And if the four of us bring one more each, that's eight. You get the picture. So instead of worrying about how many persons may not be able to understand, you just get involved, join the process, and help me. And together we will make it work.
All right. Ada Thinker, can you please send a request to come in the box, Ada Thinker? This is how we're having this conversation. You can talk directly to the president. So come into the box, Ada Thinker, with your questions. Other folks on here, if you have any questions for the president, you can send a request to come in the box and you can ask him. Please note, I know that all the regular folk here know the rules of my TikTok live. We don't tolerate the negativity and disrespect over here. You know the drill. So once we see anything negative or disrespectful or unnecessary, you'll be muted or blocked. Ada Thinker, come in the box, please. I like that question. Mr. President, this man coming in the box, his username is Ada Thinker. But he's not an idle thinker, I can tell you that much. So he's one of my regulars on here. He's a part of my community and he has a question for you. Idle thinker, go ahead with your question.
Night, Chief. One of my main pressing questions, especially for a party that is fairly new, how do you infiltrate the patriotic JLP and PNP people? Seeing that they, it's like most of the people who vote now is a hand-down tradition.
1 second. Can you play the volume through here now, Mr. Harper, on this system here? Go ahead, ask the question again for me, please.
Yeah, man. I say how you plan to infiltrate the minds of the people that is so patriotic to the other parties.
All right, I'm not hearing it. Sorry. I was trying to see if we can improve the quality on the end for my viewers here. Your question is again, how are we going to?
How you plan? Or what plan you have to infiltrate the patriotic JLP and PNP followers? Because even though in a degree of them willing to follow them party. What is the mode of operate? What kind of action you have to really infiltrate that and make an impact that will allow you to even win even one seat? Because even one seat would have break the chain or the cycle of this way they call it now. Because NDM never do it. No other party has never really even gotten a seat. So.
The first thing for us to recognize is that it's not as bad as you think. The Jamaican people have been consistently rejecting the two parties. The last three elections we've gone from 48% did vote, the 52% did vote, now 63% did not vote. So the Jamaican people, the majority of Jamaicans have not voted for these two parties for the last three election cycles, right? They've been more and more. So those who are diehard are getting less and less because the people are wise enough now. They're recognizing that it doesn't matter if you vote GLP or PNP. The people now know that it's not working. And why it doesn't work is because both parties are funded by the same source. The same source controls and owns them. So a vote for one or the other is still a vote for more misery. So the people are learning this. My job is to continue to educate, to help them to see that yes, that is the case. And now they need to step up and take action. And so by talking to you and ABS and others, I'm educating, informing, and thereby empowering you to join me in making the change. It won't be easy because remember, the same powers that fund these two parties also own the media. So they're not going to lend us the media to carry our message easily unless we have millions of dollars to pay them, but we don't. So we know, you and I have to engage now in creative ways like we're doing this tonight to get this message to the rest of Jamaica. And gradually, we pool ourselves together and we take charge of our country. It's going to happen. The question is how fast? How slow or how fast? It's been a slow process for the Jamaican people to recognize that these two parties are not there to serve them. We've had 70, 80 years of history now. The question is, are we ready to get up and stand up and fight for our rights?
That's a question you propose, but one of the 48 laws of power state that it's easier to sell people a dream than to face the reality of what you're going through. So how you balance that equation?
Well, I'm committed to focusing on educating the people of Jamaica. And as long as they respond to that education, we're going to make it, happen, right? So the 48 laws of power and all of that is, lovely stuff in the book. The key thing is for you and me. If you are convinced that you're unhappy with the Jamaica you've seen since you've been born until now, I'm totally unhappy. I've now lived on this earth for 51 years.
I am one of those 60% that has never voted, not even have a voter's ID. I will be honest, because I've never been impressed with either side, even though my grandparents are die-hearted one of the party them, but I don't see what none of them do. I don't see nothing where impress me. All I know say, the percentage of them have that vote for them is that they are them are not smart. It's just common sense. Wherever them want vote them bill a get up. Most of these parties have love poor people so much and do not stop create more. Because when you have a country that need that, when a person is in need, it's easier to control them than when they're just smart. So how you counter the fact now that with people being in need, and all they can because when they have them in need, they can give them a $5,000 a bit of guineas and a shirt and second market X. How propose to get them away from that mindset and bite the bullet and take a chance with you.
It's not me. It's we. The only way this is going to work is if we decide to do it. I am just.
No, I understand when you say we, but we when you say we, is everybody I look for a hero to save them. So you, even though we are you.
Right. So the hero, which is me, thank you for saying that. So me, the hero, is going to motivate we, the people, to rise up. So last September 22nd, I was arrested, right? Remember when I led the march in Kingston?
Yeah, man. The lockdown.
Yeah, so 500 people came out to that. Now my goal is to raise that 500 to 500,000. Yeah. So I'm working assiduously to see if I can get 500,000 people to rise up. Now it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how fast. The more I continue to communicate, the more I continue to engage, and we do so as strategically as we can, we will bring more people on. I'm sure there are people on this call right now who are viewing now who have never heard of the UIC before. This is their first time. And so they now will be able to go to their home, to their family, and say, did you hear about the UIC? And they will start following us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. They'll go to our YouTube TV, UIC Liberty TV. And so now we will still keep expanding. Every day it is expanding. This year, our income from the people, because we don't take money from the PSOJ oligarchy who's trying to control the narrative and control the people. We take money from ordinary Jamaicans. Our revenues have gone up 200%. Okay. So where we were last year, 200% higher this year. Our membership has gone up. Our the base of people who now support us have gone up. So every year we're getting there slowly, but at some point you're going to have the breakout moment. The breakout moment will come, and you'll have an avalanche of people coming in. But it begins with you and me, and I want you to be a hero. So join me and let's make it happen.
Me? No, I'm for change, I am for a change, but the manifesto sound good. Manifesto sound good. And my next question to you now, in terms of seeing that the system is rigged or controlled by the other entities unknown to us in most instances. What are you proposing to put in place that even you yourself and your party does not get corrupted or get controlled or get taken over by these entities?
Beautiful question. Beautiful question. If you check on manifest, you'll see a part of it speaks about governance. This is the key: governance. How do you design the governance of Jamaica? When the UIC is elected, we're going to implement a new constitution. Let's compare the two constitutions, what we have now and what the UIC is going to bring in. Right now, the people do not elect the prime minister. He comes out of the backroom dealings of the party. In the new Jamaica, we're going to elect a president directly by the people. We're no longer going to have any colonial powers in charge, no queen, no governor general, no commonwealth, no privy council. We're going to have an elected head of state and head of government, a president. In the current system, the prime minister and opposition leader appoints the senators. They create these rubber stamp people who now have the real, independence. In our system, we're going to elect senators. Every parish will elect one senator. We'll have 14 senators elected by the people. Focus on the needs of the parishes and represent the needs of their parishes. The current system, you have rubber stamp senators who focus on the needs of their political parties. In the current system, you have MPs who are handpicked and forced upon the people in the different constituencies. In our system, we're going to have community representatives. They must live there to represent the country, to represent the constituency. They must be a part of it. In FIDEM system, the private sector buys the politicians and own them. In our system, it's going to be 100% publicly funded. So every single representative will be somebody who the people want, will be somebody who's funded publicly, so no big money control him or her. They'll have the same access to radio, television, internet, town hall, and debates. And that will mean whether you're rich or you're poor, you will have equal access to the political process to represent the people you want to represent. All right? In our system, the ministers of government are going to be subject matter experts, not willy-nilly politicians being picked by their party leaders to be head of health when they don't know nothing about health, or head of education when they don't know nothing about education, or head of security when they don't know nothing. We're going to have subject matter experts drawn from among the vast array of Jamaicans from around the world. Once you're Jamaican and you have the competencies, you can be nominated for this position. When you're nominated, you'll be publicly vetted by the independent Senate and voted in or out by the House of Representatives. What does this mean? It will mean for the first time in Jamaica's history, we're going to have qualified and competent men and women leading our ministries. It's also going to mean for the first time in our history, a separation of power with proper checks and balances between the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the executive branch. All three will be separate and kept in check by the judicial branch. This means corruption will be very, very, very hard to happen. And that's how we're going to ensure that Jamaica, for the first time in its history, have a non-corrupt or anti-corrupt government.
So when you kill it, all right. So when you get rid of the corruption, which really are propelled with economy now as we speak, where you really have, where you propose to put in place, because before you even got there, so the mindset, because majority of the mindset is an handout mindset, or you propose to change that, because others have come before you and try to propose things like this, but because of the hand-me-down or the handout mindset, the people are not for it because the forward thinking is not there. They're just seeing what is in front of them now and what they can get, because most people they're in a survival mode. So thinking beyond tomorrow is not really something that they're about.
Are you talking about yourself or the people of Jamaica?
I talk about the people out to them, and not talk about myself. I talk about in general. Remember what happened to where the Rasta you name Crawford? Because when you tell people about it's for empower themselves and self-sustain, them don't want to hear that. They want to hear how much you are putting on them on.
All right, so let me fix this for you. By the way, Crawford is a very poor example because Crawford only talks the talk but doesn't walk the walk.
No, but let's talk. Even though him talk the talk, you put it out there and the people them still never grab it.
All right, listen to me now. Mm-hmm. What you're talking about is the tail wagging the dog. Okay? Jamaica is what you see today, not because of the people, but because of the system of governance that we have and the leadership that we have had over the years.
Yes, and that's what I said that them create a mindset.
Hold on, let me finish the boss.
Mm-hmm.
So when you know, change the leadership of the country, which is what I'm asking the Jamaican people to do.
Mm-hmm.
When you change the leadership of the country, and that leadership, which is the UIC, committed to changing the system, you're going to find the people falling in line with the system. You're going to have people who want to maintain the old way. But when you change the system, they can't maintain the old way. I'll give you a few examples, just so you understand. There was a time when Jamaica did not have a GC. DJ Patterson brought in the GCT in the 1980s. So the early 90s, 1992, 3, 4. There was no GCT before. When he mentioned it, I said, no, that can't work. But he didn't do it. And now we have the GCT. It has gone from 7.5% all the way up to 16.5% and now to 15%, right? We thought it was not possible, but it's here. Just the other day, Andrew got all of us to be wearing masks. We said, no, but he got all of us to wearing masks. That's the same. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, focus on your real ingredient. The people will follow their leaders. The people will follow the system. If you put the system in place and if you have the leadership, you'll get there. I'll give you one more example in history. When Lee was elected Prime Minister in 1965 in Singapore, it was a dirty country, a very divided country, a very hostile country. They're fighting religious war. They're fighting language wars. They're fighting ethnic wars and communist problems and all of that. And in 25 years, because of his solid leadership and because of the effective model of governance, that country became a first-class country in 25 years. Now, Jamaica is the flipping opposite. Our leadership, these two parties, have had 78 years. And after 78 years in office, they have not been able to even come slightly close to Singapore, even though Singapore have far less resources than us. I, Joseph Patterson, and the UI will provide the leadership for Jamaica and have designed the system for Jamaica that will make Jamaica even superior to Singapore.
All right. Here we are still.
All right, hold on 1 second. I don't think, Mr. President, someone in the comments, Hawthorne White, his question is, is your party going to make Jamaica a republic and the CCJ instead of no Privy Council?
Okay, so the UIC is going to make Jamaica a non-partisan constitutional republic. This will do away with the Queen or King, the monarchy, the Commonwealth, the Privy Council. We're not going to do like other countries which have a fake republic. A fake republic is one where you tell the people that now that you have a president, a ceremonial president, just like the governor general, you're now a republic. That is not a republic. That is a whitewash. That is simply changing the name but keeping the substance. We want to change the substance, not just the form. You understand? So we're going to create a non-partisan constitutional republic, which will do one of the most important things. Very important. A true republic is one that recognizes, respects, and protects the sovereignty of the individual citizen. So we're going to make sure that every citizen is treated as sovereign and there's no sovereign over them. Not even Parliament as a will be sovereign over the people. The people must be sovereign and every individual must be treated as a sovereign citizen, a sovereign person. And we must have a system that is non-partisan, that stops dividing our people into parties. You might still have parties, but the structure of government must be such that the parties are not what is important. The people are important. So we're going to make the people the center of our politics. Their needs, basic things. Like you should not have a country that is unsafe. One of the first rules of government is to make sure we have a safe environment. in which to live. Another role is to make sure that you have a clean environment in which to live. A third role is to make sure you have an orderly environment in which to live. Any government that cannot create a safe, clean, and orderly environment is unworthy of the name. And we have lived through 78 of these two parties with their inability to create a safe, clean, and orderly Jamaica.
All right. Alain is in the box and he has money questions, Mr. President. He wants to know where you're going to get the money from to carry out all your plans. Alain, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, good night. All right, so Mr. President has a lot of plans to do away with this and move away with that. But have you done a comprehensive cost analysis on the impact of, say, for example, removing the Queen, becoming a republic, getting out of the Commonwealth, moving away from Privy Council? Have you done a proper cost analysis to see what the impact would do to our GDP?
Absolutely. I'm a CPA of 25 years experience. So I fully understand the importance of proper costing, of having a clear understanding of your revenue sources, your cost drivers, your key expenses, and so on. So we have done the math, we have done the work. Now, there's nothing to fear. The only fear we need to worry about is fear itself. The fear of not changing because we're used to what is bad. The UIC is going to ensure that and by the way, let's be very clear. If tomorrow we change to a true republic, it does not change our tax base, right? Our tax base remains the same. Right now, the government takes in 45% of our GDP, of which then takes up 750 million US dollars every year, right? So just imagine if we just cut out the corruption alone and start to save 750 million US dollars every year. That's number one. Number two, the UIC is going to right-size the government. We're going to shrink the government to what it should be. We're talking about more savings. We're going to put more money back into the hands of the Jamaican people. We're going to feed the productive economy and starve the unproductive economy. We're going to wipe out the underground and criminal economy and bring the Jamaican people above board so that that productivity can really translate to even more productivity. So the fear that we should have, the real fear, is continuing the current system. Following that system is completely destructive. The longer we take the change to what the UIC wants to do is far more costly in lives, in economic growth, in development, than if we switch tomorrow to what the UIC. I'd be so happy if the GLNP came to me and said, listen, we're ready to implement the UIC model right now. I could give up politics because I'm not in it for the politics, I'm in it for the development. So if they want to do it, I'd be happy to help them. I can see that they're challenged because of the model they have been following. They're beholden to the PSOJ oligarchy, and they're beholden to their Commonwealth and colonial masters. But if they're willing to be beholden only to the Jamaican people, then we can make this happen.
Okay.
Hold on one second, Alain. Let me just take one question from the comments. Somebody, entrepreneur, Mr. President, is asking what you plan to do for the Maroon people.
For the who?
The Maroons. Are you going to leave them alone? What are you going to do?
For the Maroons, we're going to have a national commission of inquiry where we're going to allow all the information to come on the table so that Jamaican people will understand the history and the facts surrounding the Maroons. And with that information, when we understand all the different stakeholders, all the different historical contexts, whatever treaties were signed, when they were signed, with who they were signed, why they were signed, how they relate to the expanse of Jamaica, how they affect our geography and geology and whatever. And then with all of that on the table, all the facts known, we the people will then make a decision as to how best to respect and protect the sovereignty of every Jamaican and every person's, whatever their identification may be. So if you identify as Rasta, or identify as Maroon, or identify as whatever you want to, the goal of the UIC government is to protect and respect your sovereignty so long as you do not engage in the use of force or fraud to achieve your objectives.
Okay. So someone else is asking, Dre Icebox. He's asking, what do you plan to do about the garbage collection in the country? Because as you know, we've been having some issues with that for a while. It has been a long-standing issue. The Prime Minister had just announced that we're getting 50 new garbage trucks. So hopefully that will help with better collection of the garbage. But one issue is, how do I put this? Improper disposal of garbage. The people, Mr. President, the people them just nasty. Plain and straight, them nasty. I don't know how you're going to get them to change their mindset, but the National Solid Waste Management Authority cannot do it alone. People nasty.
They have deceived you. They have tricked you.
Who tricked me?
The people of Jamaica are only as nasty as their leaders. Let me explain to you why I say that. If you lived in a country, and I have lived in one, if you lived in a country where the leadership designed a proper rotation of garbage collection, which means every Thursday or every Wednesday or whatever it is in your community, once a week, there will be a proper garbage truck coming around to pick up your garbage on schedule. When you walk along the street sides, there are proper garbage disposal bins. And when you wake up in the morning to go to work, there are people who are hired by a public works department who are cleaning the streets. And then there are those who are trained, certified, and deployed to catch those who litter and fine them heavily. And we have a government that believes in a safe, clean, and orderly country and makes and enforces laws for that, you will not have a garbage disposal problem.
All right, but Mr. President, government has been doing what they can.
No, they have not.
All right, hold on. They've been doing some things. Yes, the fines can be higher for person who litter and all of that. They are allocating funds for new trucks and all of that because some of the trucks old pop down, them want to change them, need new trucks and all of that. However, in addition to all the other plans that you have, like where are you going to get all the money to do all of these things at once? Or you plan to do them in phases? You plan to focus on waste management for this year, then next year you focus on housing, the other year you focus on
why are you assuming that Jamaica is poor? Jamaica is not poor. We're only poorly managed. But listen, if you have a company, let me break it down. All right, let me break it down. If you tomorrow start a business, let's say you start a catering business, okay? With your catering business, you have to decide marketing, human resources, financing, how you're going to gather data and manage it. We call it learning and growth. In business, we have something called the balanced scorecard, made up of 4 areas. The customer, you have to understand the customer and serve the customer. Operation, you have to design an operation to do that. Finance, you have to be able to finance and account for and report on your finances if you're going to be able to build your business. And learning and growth, you have to capture data and use it effectively to grow. No, that is the same role of a government. Its job is to serve the citizen. The citizen has paid the government to do that. Our government takes in over $900 billion a year. Okay? If they choose to spend that $900 billion in creating a whole plethora of boards and all kinds of agencies unnecessarily and waste that money, hiring people that are friends and families, political activists, and giving them all kinds of contracts, giving money to dons and criminals in their communities, and giving a politician money called constituency development funds to go and try to buy votes with. If they choose to misallocate our resources, you're going to get the results you have. The role of a government is basic. First of all, you must have an effective police service to ensure law and order. Secondly, you must have proper garbage collection to make sure you have a clean environment. Thirdly, you must ensure you have a proper education system to graduate educated people who are intelligent, who can make good decisions, not one that fails 70% of our students every year. You cannot continue to underfund the things that are important and expect to have a well-run, well-developed country. Our problem is not a people problem. Our problem is a leadership problem and a governance problem. When the government fails, the people fails. If the government is nasty, the people are also going to be nasty, and we have a nasty government, and that's why we have a nasty population.
Christian.
Hold on 1 second, Xavier. Hold on 1 second. Earlier you mentioned something about hiring family and friends, and yeah, we know that nepotism is a thing. So, are you saying you are not going to hire your family and friends? You're not going to give your family and friend contracts?
I am not going to give my family and friends anything. My job in government is to run a government that is transparent, unbiased, and people must rise based on your merit. If you are qualified and competent, there's a process that you'll go through, and you're hired through that process because you're qualified or competent. I, as president of the New Jamaica, will not interfere or intervene in any aspect of the hiring process. I'll make sure, though, that we have a transparent process that can stand up to the light of day. So my wife, my children, my nephews, my nieces, or even my campaign manager is not guaranteed any position. They must get those positions based on merit. And if you think me a lie, it can be done. In Singapore, they built a system of meritocracy. We in Jamaica build a system of nepotism and corruption. The UIC is going to get rid of that system and put meritocracy as the basis by which you rise in this society. We must reward those who do the right thing and punish those who do the wrong things.
Okay, so you're saying, all right, let's say your friend or family member is hired the right way, the right processes, through the right channels and all of that. And they so happen to engage themselves in some form of corruption, they mismanage funds. You are going to send your cousin and your sister to jail?
It's not me that's going to send them. It's the process. I am not going to be interfering with the process. My job as president is to follow the process of law, follow the process of governance. And if I violate those processes or laws, then I am going to be subject to the same punishment, as in fact more, because I should be punished even more, because I am at a higher level. I am here, saying that I'm overseeing the process. So we're going to ensure that anyone, president or pauper, that violates the laws, violate the rules, suffer the consequences. That's how you build a good country, Abs. If you don't make sure it's unbiased and merit-based, you're going to have serious problems. Jamaica runs a country that is biased, connection-based, corrupt-driven, and it has created a culture of corruption, a culture of scamming. We have to go against that now if we want better for Jamaica. I want better for Jamaica. You want better for Jamaica. So let us all come together and say, enough is enough. No more corruption. We want a transparent, unbiased, meritocratic system in this country.
All right. So let me back up 1 second. You said that the nasty people them are nasty because the leader is nasty. Not sure if you meant that in a literal sense, but even if you become president, no matter what you do, you will not have a perfect country. You still have to have people who litter, people who block the drains, throw them garbage in the gully. You still have to have nastiness. You will not have this utopian society. So are you going to say those nasty people are a reflection of the president and you're nasty?
All right, so here's where you have a problem now, Al. My view of perfection is different from yours. My view of perfection is not utopia, it's not heaven. My view of perfection is good governance. When you have good governance, you will still have good people and bad people, good behavior and bad behavior. The difference now will be degrees. In bad governance, bad people are rewarded and good people suffer. In good governance, bad people suffer and good people are rewarded. And because good people are rewarded, you have a greater degree of good people or good behavior and a lower degree of bad behavior. So in my utopia, my beautiful Jamaica that I want to create is going to be one where we have good governance, so people are motivated, incentivized, encouraged to behave well. Because if they don't, the consequences are dire. Yeah. So you're gonna have less people wanting to litter because those who do litter will suffer severe consequences and they're likely to be caught. In the current Jamaica, if you litter, you're unlikely to be caught and you're unlikely to suffer any severe consequences. That's the difference. So my perfect utopia is good governance. It doesn't mean we turn the people into saints. We just change their behavior because we change the system and we apply ourselves differently in that system.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, Alain, you can go ahead, and then Xavier.
Yes. It's two things. One, if you should win tomorrow, what would your budget look like? Will it be higher than what the government has for its fiscal year, or will it be lower? And two, what significant impact have you made in your community since you started living there?
So the last question is easier. Since I began living in this community, I have shown the people a different way of living by the example of my life. They just look at me, they can see how I live. Secondarily, I started a microfinancing arrangement where I taught the people how to combine their income so that they could then borrow from that pool to build their small businesses. In the 2 years that we operated at before COVID, we did $20 million from just the community alone. So that was amazing. Now, outside of that, in terms of when we form the next government, what will be our top priorities? Will our budget be any different from the one that we have now? I have learned in my career that you don't just go in day one and make dramatic changes. What we're going to provide on day one is dramatic leadership, a new form of leadership. So the dollar of the budget will be the same in the first year because you can't just change overnight. What will change though is the budget direction, the budget focus, and how that's going to spill over into the subsequent 4 years after the first year. So the dollar value will be similar, but the allocation will be very different in the first year. In the subsequent years, you're going to find that we're gradually changing the tax system from a very complex and cumbersome system to a simplified system. It will make compliance easier and it will bring down the cost per person while expanding the base of taxpayers at the same time. So again, our revenue base will even over the 5 years will grow while the cost to individual taxpayers will reduce. And when I say cost, I mean both the amount of taxes paid and the cost of complying with taxes. So we're going to really shift Jamaica to a production-driven, entrepreneurship-driven, and create an environment of ease of how to engage with government and how to build any form of enterprise you want to build. So I hope that answers the question. It's a little nuanced, but that's roughly what it is. Lower taxes over the long run, in the 5 years, more easy to manage or participate in or comply with tax system, and a wider tax base because of the way we're going to design.
Okay, just to pause for hi Rashawn, welcome. It's been a while. And for those of you who are just joining us, here we have on the live Mr. Patterson, Mr. Joseph Patterson. It's Joseph, right?
Yes, it is.
Woo! Listen, Mr. Joseph Patterson, we have Mr. Joseph Patterson here. He is the president of the UIC, and that is Jamaica's third political party. So we want to, for those of us who don't know or who have never heard about the UIC, we're getting to know about the UIC and their plans for Jamaica should they win the next general election, and how they plan to make Jamaica a better place, what changes they will bring that differ from what the PNP and the JLP have been doing over the years. Somebody in the comments said it's the fourth party, Mr. President, and you say it's the third. Could you clear that up?
Oh, yes. Jamaica, the UIC Jamaica is the official third registered political party. So in 2018, the two colonial parties changed the rules. And for the first time in the history of Jamaica, you had to register as a political party. Prior to 2018, when they changed the laws and rules, any group would just come up and call themselves a political party. Prior to this. Why was this so? When the two colonial parties were formed, they benefited and enjoyed the lack of rule. It means they could do anything they want to do and get away with it, which they did. A lot of things and got away with it. Now, over time, they realized that, more and more people will now start to contest the system. So they wanted to better control it. So they brought in new laws, which when they brought it in, it got rid of all third parties. So the laws that they passed got rid of all third parties, and they quickly, because it's their rules and they created the rules, we only had two colonial parties effectively now being the two official parties. NDM, all the others were now wiped out. The UIC challenged that system, and after 10 months of battling with the partisan stacked ECJ Electoral Commission, we were able to overcome and became Jamaica's official third party behind the other two on the 2nd of December 2019. So we are officially the third registered party of Jamaica.
Okay, so for those who were confused about that, the president just answered the question. The UIC is, in fact, Jamaica's third political party. Also, someone in the comments, Mr. President, had asked earlier what you plan to do to tackle brain drain. Yeah, Jamaica's brain is drained. People are leaving. Our nurses are leaving, our teachers are leaving, our young, brilliant minds are leaving because of lack of opportunity or being overworked and underpaid. How do you plan to tackle that? How does the UIC plan to tackle that? How will you get these people to stay?
It's very simple. I mean, it's hard work, but it's really very simple. People are going to stay if they have something to stay for. If people can't earn a decent living, and if they can't live in a decent environment, which is safe, which is clean, which is orderly, with opportunities for themselves and their children for upward mobility, they're going to leave.
Hold on 1 second, Mr. President. So you're going to increase the minimum wage? How much people have to get paid if you become president? Tell me from now. So the people who plan to leave can change their mind.
All right. It doesn't work that way, Abs.
How does it work?
The way it works is economics have laws. And the laws of economics are very simple. If you have a system of government that misallocates resources and causes them to go in the wrong direction, you don't get the kind of productivity and prosperity that is broad-based and lifts everybody up. Instead, what you have is a concentration of wealth in the hands of a few, and they then keep the rest of us marginal and suppressed. And that's what has been happening in Jamaica. So the UIC government, we're going to flip the script on that. We're going to take away the power of those who have been using their powers behind the scenes to concentrate wealth, working through these two colonial parties to marginalize Jamaican people. We're going to reverse that. We're going to take away that power and divest them of that power and cause the economy, the money in the economy now to go out to the small man. So for example, we're going to empower the people from the grassroots up. This means access to capital for the small man, the small businesses, the medium enterprises. This means an education system which is designed to create innovators, designers, problem solvers, instead of mere factory workers or millions to work in call centers. We're going to change the education model for that. Secondarily, we have to open the economy to the diaspora. What does this mean? The UIC is going to give the diaspora member 100% duty-free to return to Jamaica. They want to come back to Jamaica, they want to invest in Jamaica, you will get all the benefits we're now giving to other people. We're going to give you the tax benefit, you the duty-free access. But wherever you are in the world, to come back to Jamaica or to invest in Jamaica or to own things in Jamaica. Once we do that, you're going to see a pouring of funds coming in and intellect coming back to Jamaica. Secondarily, we're going to give the diaspora a vote. They're going to have the vote that they can vote remotely from anywhere they are in the world and fully participate in our electoral system. What will that do? It's going to create a new mindset that will challenge the governments that we have today. They're happy to keep the diaspora out because a lot of our best and brightest people are out there. They don't want that challenge. The UIC want that challenge. We're going to open up the process to bring in all the great minds of Jamaicans from around the world. We're going to say Jamaica is more than the land. Jamaica is the people. So instead of having 2.9 million people here and that's it, we're going to have 7 million people, including all of the diaspora involved, where Jamaica now becomes fully freedom country, even if they live in Australia or live in Japan or live in the US. Jamaica is going to be their place. We're going to protect them, we're going to defend them, we're going to invite them, we're going to cater to them, we're going to roll out the red carpet for them so that this economy becomes freedom economy and they're fully a part of it. Just two of the things we're going to do.
Yeah, how much do you think the minimum wage should be? Hold on, Alain. How much do you think the minimum wage should be? What's the minimum you think people should be paid?
Okay, the minimum wage should be 0.
Explain.
Right. The minimum wage for every citizen is 0. If you don't have a job, you get 0. That's the minimum wage. If you don't have a job, you get 0. So what you don't want to create a fake wage price. That's foolishness. What you want is to create an economy where every citizen strives to achieve their maximum wage, their maximum potential, their maximum earning. This idea of a minimum wage is a colonial idea. It is a trick. It is designed to trick the mind and allow big business to pay relative to the minimum wage and measure it up against an artificial fake number as opposed to causing everybody to focus on merit. What am I supposed to earn as an individual based on my capacity? And then you go to the marketplace and you offer the marketplace based on that. When you have artificial prices, you create artificial shortages or surpluses. If you understand economics, you know what that means. So for example, let's say tomorrow we artificially set rent prices to a number. Let's pick a number. Let's say we say there's no place should be rent for more than $10,000 a month. What do you think is going to happen? Very simple. All the people who have nice places that they would rent out will take those rents off the market. Because they're going to rent them pretty place for $10,000. So they take those off the market. You will now have an underground economy for rental properties. We're trying to skirt the laws and whatever. And so what you're going to have happening now, you're going to have less rental space available, many people not being able to find a place to rent. I'm teaching you a basic economic principle here. Let's look at when we have a minimum wage. A minimum wage causes those with the lowest levels of skills, okay, which is the very young, just coming out of high school and anywhere else to go. They are not yet able to perform at the level of even the minimum wage. So guess what happened? They will not be hired. So they leave school in 16, 17, 18, and they spend the next 5, 10 years never getting a good job. What is a good job? I mean, an entry-level job to teach them the skills they need to have to be able to grow into better paying jobs. So this artificial false number have kept many young Jamaicans out of the workforce while we're trying to tell people who are big men and women that they must go collect minimum wage. What does that mean? Nobody who is 35 and having 2 or 3 children should be working minimum wage. Those jobs are for children living with their parents who are getting their first job to learn how to flip a burger, how to take orders, how to follow instructions, to work as part of a team. So we are causing people who are adults to be expecting government to set a price for them and they're expecting to get a higher minimum wage to do jobs which are for children, young people who are going to school and want a part-time job.
Oh, and it seems we have lost the president. I'm wondering what happened.
It happened the last time.
There have been claims.
Yeah, this happened the last time, where the live dropped. So it's dropped on her side, so she can't hear me anymore. And that was such a very interesting topic to talk about. It's no economics. It's a difficult topic because many people are brainwashed by this minimum wage topic. They don't have a clue what it means, and they look at the surface of it, and that's how politicians trick us. They give us these simplistic surface level answers, and then we run with it and think we understand what's going on. Minimum wage actually kills jobs. It kills small businesses. It kills young workers and block them out of the market, while adults are seeking to make a minimum wage. Adults must never look to make minimum wage. Adults are meant to earn a wage way above minimum wage. But this artificial price mechanism that they put in place actually dumbs down the consumer, dumbs down the citizen, and have them focus on the wrong thing. You must focus on building your competences, focus on adding value to the marketplace, and that's now when your wages will rise tremendously. We also have to focus on creating what they call competition in the market space. Not just competition among workers, but competition among employers. And the more you have, the more employers you have in the marketplace, are the more options the employees will have, and therefore the more competitive it will be, and the higher their wages will rise. But if you have a country like Jamaica where they make laws and gatekeep the economy so that only a few people can be employers successfully, and therefore restrict the number of potential employers who can pay big wages, then those big players are able to suppress wages artificially without us recognizing it, while we're focusing on talking about minimum wage. Minimum wage was a tool used by racist people to block out black people out of the economy in America and South Africa, for example. So the minimum wage, even though it sounds like a good idea, it's actually a tool used to create bad outcomes while pretending to be there for good reasons. So, yeah, you ready to come back on, Mr. Arpa? I noticed you were doing something else. You're muted, eh? Let me unmute you. Here we go.
Yes, I was just looking to see what
Still
was
not
happening.
hearing you. What's happening?
You're not hearing me?
I am not hearing you. You are, no, not a word.
Hold on.
Not a word.
How about now? You're not hearing?
What is this? All right, so let me, look like Abs is on, but I am not.
Are you hearing me?
Yes,
it looks like she's still on, but see if you can get back on her.
Yeah, I'm not seeing her on my screen here, and I'm not hearing you, Sir Harper. You are gone. We've lost your voice. Okay, accept. All right. Yes. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Something happened. Sure, go ahead.
It's a part of the brain trade, because when I left university in 2014, I was stuck with a $4.5 million student loan tag.
Yes.
With a $4.5 million student loan tag, and getting a salary that is only capable of paying my student loan, buying lunch, and going to work for the rest of the month. There was no savings. There, you work at a place where there's no pension, there's no health insurance, there's no life insurance, there's just no hope. And then you start to question yourself, what have I really done to myself? Am I better off being educated or just remaining a part of the puppet show that is taking place in our society? And through migration, that is the only hope I see for myself to create wealth and build a family, right? And break the generational curse that exists. It's not like I don't miss my country. Every single day that goes by, I miss Jamaica. I went back there last month and I didn't want to leave because despite everything that is happening here, it is home. It is one of the most beautiful places on the planet. I wish every Jamaican could leave and then just look back and you realize that we have a paradise. We have something that is loved, that
I
is
know
something
the
that
feeling.
is cherished.
I share the same.
I just
when I
can't
left
explain
Jamaica
it.
in 1990
I
or
share
93,
the
I think,
same.
somewhere
When I
there.
left Jamaica
It
in
was
1990,
so painful because
I think somewhere there, it was so painful because I didn't want to leave. I left because my wife felt it would have been safer, in her opinion, and mind you, to have her children in Canada because when she saw what she witnessed in the hospital, she was deathly afraid. And of course, many people have had their children here. I was born here, she was born here, but she didn't want to take the chance with her own children. But also, the economic options were much greater in Canada. And it doesn't need to be that way in Jamaica. The only reason why Jamaica is not a great place to live and earn and retire is because those who have governed our country for the last 78 years have not done the things that needed to be done. Simple things, very, very simple things, like not having an antiquated education system, like not having a gatekeeper-based economy where your government controls almost every industry with a view to ensuring that only those who they want to let through the gate go through the gate, and they must get a cut out of it. And this is leads to a very inefficient, ineffective economy. When I went to Canada in the early 1990s, I was amazed at how easy it was to do business. I was just shocked how quick and easy I was able to start a company, grow that company, sell that company, start another company. It was so, when I compare to the hassle and pain I would have to go through here, and now I come back, 12 years now I'm back, the pain even worse than it was than when I left. If everything here is so hard, it's hard to open a bank account, it's hard to get your business going, it's hard to find quality people to work. Everything is just so hard here. And it doesn't have to be. It's only because of the leadership and the system of governance that they embrace and maintain why life is so hard. So if we want to reverse the brain drain, we have to create a country that makes it easier for Jamaicans here at home and abroad to fully engage in the economy without a government that does everything to control everything and prevent people from freely engaging in trade with each other and with those outside of our country.
Alain?
I mean, that is it. That is it. And the plan that he has to involve the diaspora in voting and the economic development of the country is one of the, I don't know, that's such a brilliant plan because there's so much untapped resources that exists in the diaspora. We contribute a significant portion to the GDP per annum, and that is just basically sending money for our relatives. We have savings over here. We have savings that we want to invest. Because I do invest because I am active in the stock market back home. But in terms of buying properties and building houses and establish business, that is something that we want to do. but the country is not safe. It's not safe for us to want to come back and live because every eyes is on you, and before you know it, you're killed for $1,000 in your wallet.
Exactly. I mean, you can't have a well-developed country if it's unsafe to do business. Do you know that most businesses here spend more time on security concerns than any other thing? When you're doing your business in another country, like I have done in Canada, security is a small component of my budget and a small component of my day-to-day concerns. Security is very small. Even just being a citizen in Canada, when I get up in the morning to go to work, security is the last thing on my mind. When I come home, if I come home late at night or very early in the morning, security is minuscule. I'm not worried about my security. In Canada, I had no fence around my yard, at least not the front yard. I had no grill on my house. You understand? I could drive in 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning and feel safe and secure, not worried about security. So now I can focus on my product, designing my product, creating my product, marketing my product, engaging with my customers. My energy now is spent on value-added activities. While here in Jamaica, your energy is spent on security, corruption. You need to do, the government set up rules and they must follow these rules. To follow them is very costly. Very, very costly. And corruption is at every corner. You have to decide, okay, do I just pay and just get this thing out of my way? Or do I go and stand up in the long line, wait forever and ever, and then have a person who don't understand anything about customer service now treat me like a boy or whatever, or I have to be very careful with them because if I don't, they won't do whatever. While in Canada, none of that happen. I want whatever, bam, 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 fill this out, send this in, everything is done, going to get whatever, just go in and get it. I don't have to worry about me have to pay nobody here, so I do this here, so it just works. Why we can't have a country that just works? Listen, I'm going to ask you a question, Alex. I'm going to ask you a question. You're asking me some questions. I'm going to ask you my time now. Give me time now. How long should it take for a government to figure out how to run a country properly? Should it take 10 years, 15 years, 25 years? No, them 1 year. It has taken them 78 years and them still not figuring it out. So they're going to ask you, how long should it take these two colonial parties to figure out how to create a country that works for the people of Jamaica?
I'm going to ask my brother in arms, Xavier, to answer this question for me. Xavier? Xavier?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
All right. If I may answer the question with a question. How long does it even take to know your partner? Much less know the entire nation.
All right. Xavier, the answer is good. Hold on, let me just stop you right there. This is not about two people meeting each other and knowing each other. This is about leadership and management. Okay? When you, Xavier, start a company, let's say you start a company, you create a real estate company or development company or real estate development. You, Xavier, know that the only way you're going to have a successful company is you get the basics right. Know your customer. Understand the needs of your customer. Build an operating procedure, a process that you're going to follow that's going to turn your production effectively. Understand and manage your finances properly so that you spend wisely and that you maintain a good profit and loss statement, a good balance sheet, and good cash flow. And finally, build a feedback loop system so you can keep learning and growing. You know that. You're not going into a relationship with your customer beyond the point of understanding how to bring the product to market and maintaining good relations. What you said a while ago is as if the government is getting into an intricate, complicated marriage with the citizens. And that's all. They have a basic job to do. Run the police properly, run the infrastructure properly, run the school system properly, run the healthcare system properly, and make sure that at the end of the day, Jamaica's finances are managed properly. If them can't do that, them should have stepped out. But it's not like so them can't do it. They're committed to stealing. They're committed to doing things that enriches them at the expense of the people, and so they can't focus on doing what they should do, which is ensuring the people of Jamaica have an environment in which to succeed. They spend less time on building the environment for success and more time on focus on winning elections, so they have access to our tax dollars and access to the ability to borrow money in our name, thief some, and then tax us to pay it back. That's what they're doing, and that's why we're suffering.
Okay, I have a bunch of questions for you.
Yeah,
Hello?
asking them one, Xavier.
Mr. President.
Yes,
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
John, again.
I didn't hear the question, sorry.
He didn't ask. Xavier, go ahead.
I think you mentioned some time ago in your presentation that the government is stealing 700, how much? 700 billion?
750 million. Well, not corruption is absorbing $750 million of corruption.
Corruption is absorbing $750 million. Is that US or Jamaica?
US dollars.
Okay, and the source of this information?
If I'm information? Absolutely, very sure. Matter of fact, the number I'm giving you is probably
no. No, I'm asking you the source of the information.
Alain, who that?
Yeah, where's the source of your information?
You're breaking up, Mr. President. Seems to be having connectivity issues. Some connectivity issues. You were freezing. Alain, who that? Yeah, I see. Xavier, you can continue the question.
All right, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
So we weren't hearing it clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Xavier, I'm going to.
Yeah, I'm here now. So I was asking the source of information.
Yeah. I'm going to apologize. I don't have that reference on hand right now. Later.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned the budget, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the budget is 912 billion, and that's in JMD dollars.
Yes.
Correct. That's the amount of money that the government would have collected from its taxes.
That's the budget.
So this question, all right. So this question is, all right. Let me ask a question. All right. So I'm looking at the budget right now, and it's saying $307.5 billion is for debt servicing expenditure.
Yeah.
So that's money paid out to. Is good. The IMF and
Xavier, we're not hearing you clearly.
hello?
Yeah, break up, Xavier.
You hearing me now? You hearing me now?
Yes.
Well, I think my internet is fine here.
Go again.
No, I'm just saying I think my internet is fine here.
All right, go ahead with your question. I heard that clearly.
I'm not sure what's the problem. All right, so I'm just saying that the debt servicing expenditure of the budget is 307.5 billion Jamaican dollars, which leaves us with 604.5 billion Jamaican dollars. Correct, Mr. President?
Yeah, I understand the logic. Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right.
Just go ahead.
Okay. All right. So if we have 604.5 billion dollars in Jamaica, in Jamaican dollars, right? And then you have you have doctors, you have nurses, you have teachers, you have policemen, you have those who work in the tax office, those who work at transport authority, you have so many other persons who work in the public sector. This $604.5 billion should go to paying them, plus paying for street lights, paying for water, plus other expenses. No, you said that all this money has been earned because of the taxes that are now imposed. No, you suggested that you're going to reduce taxes. How will you achieve this amount of money, knowing that the amount of taxes that have been collected now can't even pay the public sector what they're supposed to be paid?
All right, before you answer, Mr. President, guys, let's continue the conversation. I just stepping away for 3 minutes. All right,
Sure.
Go ahead, continue.
I thought you were going to ask the most important question first. The first question.
Oh God, why does he keep popping off?
Get back on
Something
here.
is not right.
Yeah, I've been kicked out of the live on here, so I'm trying to see if I can get back here. All right, so I'm off, but it's a powerful question that he asked, and I'm looking forward to answering that question. I really want to answer it. I rile up, I really want to answer the question there, because that is I know where he's going. All right, am I back with you now? Xavier, you hearing me? Xavier, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
You can hear me, Xavier?
No, it's not 6 billion, 600 billion.
You can hear me, Xavier?
No, I'm just referring to
Right.
alien. It's not 6 billion
Wonderful.
alien.
So
It's
I was going to
$604
say,
billion
Xavier, that I was hoping. Wonderful. So I was going to say Xavier. Muting. I was hoping you were going to Mr. Harper, my thing here keeps muting. Could you monitor for me, please? All right.
Mr. Harper, my
Xavier,
thing here keeps
I was hoping you would ask the most important
right.
question. Something is going on with the connection here. Here's the question that you should first ask before you go to the second part, which is a good question. But the first question you should ask is, why are we paying such a large amount of our GDP, of our budget, right, our government budget, to debt? Yeah, I think roughly we're talking about a little bit over a third of our budget, a little bit over 33% of our budget is being spent on debt servicing. Now, when you hold on, sorry, say that again. What's that? No, man, no, you're missing the point. You're missing the point by a mile. Let me help you here. When you go to a bank and you borrow money, you borrow for one of two reasons. You either borrow for consumption, which is stupid, or you borrow for investing, which is wise. If you borrow for consumption, let's say you as a citizen, an ordinary person, you go and you borrow some money to get a hairdo, some food, and to have a good time out with your friends, none of which were designed to increase your productivity or increase your output or increase your income. But you have borrowed money to do that. No, that is absolutely dumb, because it means now you have a debt to service, but that debt has in no way added to your income potential. Okay? If you're a wise individual, you will use your income to consume, and you will borrow to invest to increase your income. So you, Xavier, you're working at a call center, and you eat most of the money you earn, and you save a small portion, and you borrow another piece from the bank or some other lender to invest in a car wash business you want to start. Now you borrow $1 million to start the car wash, and every month that car wash gives you 250, well, let's say less than that. Every month that car wash gives you $100,000. You pay down a portion of that $100,000 on the loan, and you have a small difference of $10,000 left to eat for yourself. That is wise. That is smart. You borrow $1 million, you're paying back $90,000 on the loan, and you get $10,000 to Niam. Okay, that is smart. That wouldn't affect your budget. But if, on the other hand, you borrow the $1 million to consume and do nothing, it's not producing anything, it's not an investment. So now every month you're paying $90,000, but you're not making a cent from that debt that you borrow, but you're paying $90,000 from your existing income that you have. You're a fool. The question you should ask yourself, why are we allowing fools to lead us? Because they have borrowed money, built up a massive debt, and have to tax us to pay back that debt, but that debt isn't producing anything much to offset the cost of the money that they borrow. That is the million-dollar question you should ask. Why do we have a massive debt and not massive prosperity to show for it? Why do we have a major debt taking 33% of our income, and that debt is not producing for us a higher income so that we can afford to pay back the debt because our productive capacity would have expanded? That's number one. Number two, the UIC's approach now is very wise. What we are going to do, we are going to not only renegotiate the debt because we understand how debt works and we understand how negotiating works, and we understand, hold on. We understand how money works. We understand how debt works. Jamaica's debt is broken down 20% foreign and 80% local. We understand how that debt was incurred, and we understand what we have to do now to deal with those with whom we have that debt. That's one side. Second side, we understand that you cannot grow an economy by starving it of the fundamentals it needs to succeed. You cannot grow an economy that is unsafe. You cannot grow an economy that is unclean. You cannot grow an economy that is disorderly. It will not grow. It will continue to be stagnant, and we have seen that for the last 50 years. The growth that they're talking about right now is full growth. We're simply growing back to the stagnant level we were before they suppressed the economy with their foolish policies. So we are going to now create policies, create regulations that will spur the economy from the bottom up, where real people are working. And we're going to shift the money from those who are sucking us dry but not producing anything, and put that money into the productive sector, in the hands of the poor people, the hands of the small people, the hand of the medium-sized enterprises, and give them prominence over those who are simply amassing wealth at an alarming rate while suppressing the majority of our people. Now, I can't tell you all the details of how I'm going to do that, because we have some friends on the other side who borrow my words almost every single day so that they can say to the people, or the people can say, oh, we hear that already, but we're going to do what must be done to fix this country. And so your question is quite valid, but it needs to be framed correctly so we understand. What you're saying is we can't do it. How are you going to do it based on how this thing's set up? And what we're saying, first understand the problem, and then you'll be able to appreciate the solution. We're going to expand the tax base while reducing the rate. Watch me. We're going to cause more people, more of the informal sector to be into the sector. We're going to expand the base because people will find it easier to comply and will see the benefits of their tax dollars. Will it happen overnight? No. But there will be overnight changes that will create positive impact. So people will be happy to participate. People will be happy to return. People will be happy to invest in Jamaica because now they have a government that is friendly to honest investment and painful to those who want a corrupt system of governance. What I can't give you more details on that. I cannot give you more details. We're going to deal with the debt. There are some things you can do to manage the debt which are not being done right now. And I'm not going to share them with you right now because there are some persons who are good at taking what I say, repackaging it, and fooling the people while not doing anything. So I'm not going to continue to give out a whole lot of my strategies and approaches for them to just borrow the words, mimic it back to the society, so that the society will lose confidence in it when they hear it coming from us eventually when the UIC gets out there. So suffice it to say, we're going to manage the debt in a way that is not being managed now, and we're going to expand the tax base, and we're going to create an economy that grows rather than one that stagnates.
Mr. President, your camera is off. Mr. President.
Yes, sorry?
We're not seeing you. Your camera is off.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can fix that. Let me see here. Camera. Yeah. I don't know why live access need live on your. You'll connect using audio only. Yes, something isn't. Let me come out and come back in because it's not allowing me to change my camera setting. I don't know why. How do I do this? Okay, let me come out. Bring me back in, please. Yeah, so hopefully I'll fix it on the coming in. You see how they fool up the people, eh? So the argument is this: what we should then do, we should just give up then, because the debt is this and this is that, so we just give up because let me do this now. Let's see, camera, good, go live, wonderful. That should be it. I'm back with you now. Can you see me?
Yeah, we're seeing you now.
Wonderful, thank you.
I see. What's up?
Yes.
Just all right. Say for example, I borrow $100,000 from the bank.
Yes.
All right. Bank says to me that I need to pay $5,000 a month. Right. I have paid that $5,000 for a month, and I'm seeing where I'm having challenges paying that $5,000 per month. If I approach the bank and say, hey, I'm having challenges paying $5,000 a month, what can you do for me? What the bank is going to tell me to do is to refinance the loan at a lower rate or pay a higher interest. So instead of paying $5,000, I'm paying $3,000, but my interest rate has increased. So the government is now paying back $300 billion per year for debt service. That's a stipulated amount. Are you saying that you're going to reduce that amount when you come into power in terms of payments? And then give the money to the non-immigrants?
Let's look at it this way, Xavier. What I'm saying is we're going to manage the country and the economy differently from how it is being managed now, so that Jamaican people get greater value for money from the government. It's not just a matter of talking about debt and debt servicing. It's a complete package that requires more than just talking about debt. The man you talked about who borrowed money and can't pay it back, when he goes to the bank, he may spread his debt over a longer period of time. So it may be, instead of him having an amortization period of, say, 5 years, he agrees with the bank to lengthen the amortization period to, say, 7 years, which also would reduce the amount he's paying per month for the loan. But those are all nuances that, a lot of people here are not going to get into. The point of the matter is we need to understand why we're in this mess. We need to understand how to get out of it. Us trying to sparse between what we're going to do with each dollar of debt is not getting us anywhere. The key thing is bad governance got us here, and it will take good governance to get out of it. And the fact that we have to service the debt is a fact. That's a fact. Whoever is elected has to service the debt. The question is, those who created that debt and who are causing us to suffer the pain of paying it back and not having an economy that can properly manage that, we need to punish them by sending them out, by firing them. If you hire them for 78 years and they failed you, you fire them and you try a different manager and a different system if the system you have isn't working. That's the key here. Let us not get lost in the weeds.
Good night, Mr. President.
Good night.
I would like to find out what would your party attract people?
Okay, so we're disrupted again. I don't know if they can hear me anymore. Boy, a whole heap of disruption tonight, eh? Boy. Okay, yes, it's just circling. But my friends, I hope you found the session very useful. Now is a chance for you to rate the session. All of you who think that we did a good job tonight, give us a 10 out of 10 or 100%. If you think we did poorly, you give us a 1 out of 10 or some number below 5. So over 5, 5 is pass mark. 5 and up to 10 is good, 10 is excellent, of course. Less than 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is bad. Tell me what you think, so we, get a gauge to understand how this live impacted you. Did you find it useful? Was it valuable? Question here or comment. Mr. Patterson, you haven't still is opening the eyes of a lot of people, including me. Truly, UIC is an education movement. We try, lady. Thank you very much. That's our goal. Lucky Lion says 1,000. Javi says it looks like 10 million. And Meta said 10 times 10. Babu Blue says great answer. Repeated question though. Yes. Chappie Smith says 10. Wade Noble says pulling Jamaica out of the rut is something. I missed it. Purpose Driven Vibe says 109,999. Look like maybe 109 million %. Lady says always on point, Mr. Patterson. Thumbs up. Baba Blue. I totally agree with you. I would love to see that. I'm not sure what that was. 100% nothing less, Mr. P. Unshakable. Lion Rule the Jungle. And Alan Scott says just join, but I see always 10. It's a pity I got disconnected, but such is life. You'll never see or hear the other party tell how to invest. Correct, Kevon. Them not really interested in our success as a people. They play games, and they like to pretend as though they care about poor people. They love poor people. That's why they like to talk about the poor people. They try to make poor be stylish. They love, if you notice, there are some of their supporters who love to call themselves poor people, and they love to talk about who help poor people. We don't want to have poor people. We want to build a country where people are poor. You understand? We want a country. You know what I admired when I was living in Canada? You hardly see anybody who is poor, even if they call themselves poor. They have a nice apartment, they drive a car, they have microwave and TV, they wear good clothes, you know. So they say they're poor, you know, but that's like Jamaica's rich. You know what I mean? So that's how I want Jamaica to be. I want Jamaica. When we talk about poor people in Jamaica, it's somebody who has a decent job, can buy a full basket of grocery every week, can drive a vehicle if that's what they want to do, live in a decent home with, you know, the nice lawn and driveway or walkway, beautiful, decent living room, dining room, kitchen, bedroom. The kids are comfortable. They're not packed up, and, you know, just a decent life, you know, a decent life, man. That's what we want for every Jamaican. So if you claim you're poor in a UIC Jamaica, that's the kind of person you must be as a poor person. Then you have the super rich, those now who figure out how to build a product that everybody wants. And we want enough of them people there. We want a lot of people who will come up with new products and new ideas, you know, around the world that people are buying, you know, not just in Jamaica. So we want Jamaicans here to build beautiful products that millions of people around the world are buying, and that money is flowing into our country. Javis says, Devery Williams, it's getting, not sure what that is. Like in the Netherlands, Mr. Patterson, those are the kind of poor people want. Yes, exactly. So until most Jamaicans understand, Jamaica will be a better place. Okay, not sure what that means. Let me see if I can. I don't know how to, I guess it's finished. I'm going to assume that's what it is. So another time we will connect with her. We have done 3 hours and 11 minutes. My God, Mr. Harper, how are you going? Why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you stop me, boss? Oh, gosh. So, you're muted. Let me fix you up here. Let me see. Sir Harper, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
You're muted. Why I can't hear you. I cannot hear you at all.
Oh, wow. Hold on. Let me.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can you come out and come back in?
Yeah,
Just disconnect completely and come back in and see. I'm not hearing you at all. All right, folks. Somebody's asking about wrapping a car. You want to wrap the UIC car? Well, we don't have a UIC car, but, you know, my wife has donated our little vehicle that you drive around the place. We've been using that for a town crier. That's how we do it, you know. It's just it's like a family operation in terms of all of us just being family and trying to make this work on a very low budget. We're trying. So please, if you have not yet done so, go on our website now, sign up, and become one of those persons who contribute $25 a month or more or less based on your ability. But the more the better. We need 1,000 persons. I think we're now roughly about near to 100 or so persons. We need 1,000. So we still have 900 more to go. So please go on the website, sign up, and become a donor ASAP. Thank you, Relaxation Music. Mr. Harper, can you speak now? Let me see if you're on.
Can you hear me now?
No, not a word. Can't hear you.
Me? Wow.
Sorry. All right. Well, everyone, thank you very much. Have a good night. My wife is going to kill me. It's now 10:12. I have to go. Take care. Talk to you soon.